What's up, my friends in the film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Please forgive my tardiness. I was having a computer issue and it was not wanting to cooperate, but we're here now. And we're here to talk about the much anticipated Five Nights at Freddy's. And boy, do I have a couple of Five Nights at Freddy's experts lined up and ready to break this thing down for you, starting with my head of life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
So I start with her. She's the she's the bigger expert than me, but yeah, I'm glad Brooding Gamer saw her. I was like, yeah, she's no, I'm not Puppet. Damn it, I'm the crying child. Screw you for getting it wrong. You're a fake fan. No, yeah,
fake fan.
No, it's fine. Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. I've been ever since they said it was this was announced. Like, I was super excited, and even just somebody who's only really known the lore of just like the main body of games. This is super cool, and once again, I think, in my opinion, a very well done video game movie. So, yeah, and I'm gonna semi-introduce the next person because I think, you know what, I think she's got the information better than the rest of us. I mean, it can be laid out a lot better. Eat your heart out, Matt Pat.
And of course,
a film theory.
The other half of our own personal power couple, the real brains behind the Five Nights at Freddy and that relationship, that is 10 Septum. What's up, girl?
Hello. I have a hook because I'm Foxy.
Hell yeah.
I was so excited when this was announced, and I'm so excited to be reviewing it. And I've got my ultimate guide here in case there are more questions, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Rachel's going to kind of carry us through this. I mean, me having never played the game, having a cursory knowledge of it at best. Jeremy having more. Me and Tex just kind of here like, we saw the movie, but of course. And we cannot forget the shape of Lone Star State, the one who is probably still hungover from celebrating the fourth ring for Bruce Bochy that they just won the other night with the Texas Rangers. My man Tex, what's up, brother?
Last night was so cool. We were at Ranger Stadium. Obviously, the game was in Arizona, but watching from the stadium. And, you know, I learned something. When your team wins a World Series, you can openly drink and pour alcohol on your friends in the street in town, and cops don't arrest you. They just let you go because you won the World Series. So we need to do this more often. So let's go Rangers. It's awesome. You know, we got that ring back. So
yeah, congratulations to the Rangers. I was just happy to see Bruce Bochy get another ring. He helped my Giants win.
Oh, dude! Did you see the picture of him flying home with the trophy on the airplane? It's like he gave it its own seat. He's looking at it like he's having a conversation with the trophy right there. I'll have to send it to you. It's a great picture.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame manager for sure. But let's delve in now to what we're here to talk about, and that is Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a 2023 American supernatural horror film directed by Emma Tammy, who co-wrote the screenplay with Scott Cawthon and Seth Cuddeback from a story by Cawthon, Chris Lee Hill, and Tyler McIntyre. It's based on the video game franchise of the same name, created by Cawthon, and it stars Josh Hutcherson as a troubled security guard who accepts a night job at an abandoned family entertainment center where he discovers its 4 animatronic mascots come alive and are prone to murder. Elizabeth Lale, Piper Rubio, Mary Stuart Masterson, and Matthew Lillard appear in supporting roles. Development of Five Nights at Freddy's film adaptation began in April of 2015 with the involvement of Warner Brothers Pictures. Several directors and so on and so forth were connected to it. All of them ended up leaving for one reason or another. The main cast was confirmed in December, while other cast additions were signed in March of 2023. With a budget of $20 million, filming began in February 2023 in New Orleans and ended that April. Five Nights at Freddy's was released on Peacock on October 26, 2023, and was theatrically released in the United States the following day by Universal Pictures. The film received negative reviews from critics, although audience reception was generally positive, and it has grossed $152 million worldwide. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 30% of 165 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 4.6 out of 10. The website's consensus quote reads, "Loaded with Easter eggs, Five Nights at Freddy's may be fun to watch for fans of the game, but most viewers of any other persuasion will find this adaptation muddled and decidedly unscary." I don't know that I entirely agree with all of that consensus review, but I mean, I don't know. We'll break it all down now. I'll go to you first, 10 Septim. I mean, give me some quick thoughts before we dig into the spoilery stuff. Just generally speaking, what do you think of the film?
I think that it stuck its guns to the source material. I mean, this is, pretty much a straight adaptation from the first game, with also mixing storylines from The Silver Eyes, which is the first novel, which follows both William Afton, which was, as we know, Matthew Lillard, and also his co-owner of the original Five Nights at Freddy's daughter, which was Charlotte. It kind of mixed these two things together, and I thought it was a really good mix of the book and the first game. And I really also just want to make a note on the practical props and puppeting of these animatronics, that they were not CGI at all. And I think that in itself is pretty impressive.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about that later on, because there was not really a lot of CGI at all. No. There was a lot of practical stuff. I'll go to you next, Jeremy. Quick thoughts before we dive into the spoilery stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Jim Henson's Creature Shop. They're no slouch. So I wouldn't have thought of anyone else better to do the puppetry for these animatronics. They had a mix of like real I think they said they had like 6 people controlling like just Foxy alone, when they're not, when they're just doing, their little dance. But when they were moving around, they had people wearing the suits, which is kind of hilarious and ironic in itself. But they looked really, really spot on. I mean, they pulled files from the game to make sure it looked, identical. And again, Scott Cawthorne being one of the producers, I mean, he's the guy, who made this whole thing happen. So this is the thing, like when like with Neil Druckmann being involved with The Last of Us, I'm like, this is gonna hit, and it's gonna hit the right way because the person who made it is involved. So this is how you do it right, when you have someone that understands what they want to see. And again, like I know it's more for the fans, and honestly, it's like that's not a bad thing. Like I said, I will try. I will attempt to try and explain some shit, but again, this person over here, can't point the right way. This one. So you've explained more to me than I think most people have. So yeah.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? I mean, like I said, me and you are not read into the lore of this, the very relatively deep lore of this story, the way that Jeremy and Rachel are. What did you think of the film, kind of as an outsider?
Well, I mean, I knew nothing about Five Nights at Freddy's, but knock off Chuck E. Cheese. That's kind of like, as the outsider's view of it. Like I said, not good or bad. It's, kind of indifferent. I was telling Rachel and Jeremy before we started, I did some deep dives on YouTube, kind of give me like the elementary, the quick version, give me the cliff notes so I can understand about what I'm watching. And the more I watched, the more confused I got. Like one guy would explain it this way, then somebody else explains it completely differently. And I'm like, you know what? To heck with all of you. I'm just going to watch a movie. But I'm very much in agreement with that review that you read, Frank, from whoever that was, about to just the casual movie audience. I don't think this is very good. I was honestly bored with it. Like, I was glad I watched this one on Peacock, because I probably would have liked it a lot less if I had actually paid for this thing. I'll be real honest with you. But, this is not my kind of movie. Not saying it's bad. It's just, this is, it's a different kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for me, from an outsider, I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was much more of a kids movie. I was hoping that for all the horror that I've heard that the game kind of leans into, I was hoping that it would be that it would kind of touch with a little more of the gore, a little more of the jump scares. It would be a little bit more of a straight up horror film. They kind of nerfed it to me a little bit, to use the gamer term. I was hoping for a little bit of blood on Freddy's mouth or something like that. Now there was some interesting scenes. The babysitter getting bitten in half or whatever the hell went on with her. I mean, there was some cool things. Don't get me wrong, but I was really hoping they were going to lean into the scary more, and I thought that they made this to a kid audience and not the audience. And a lot of kids play the game. I know a lot of adults like Rachel and Jeremy who are very familiar with the game, so they were probably wanting something a little more darker, a little more scary, a little more gritty. And I think that it was an interesting decision to try to make it a little bit more of a kids movie. At least that was the feel.
Well,
I got this. They were trying to gear this a little more to kids. They were trying to maybe make it a bit more marketable for some toys, which makes perfect sense. I get it. But I mean, while I was hoping for that, I still got a movie that I thought was pretty fun to watch. I mean, if my kids come over and they're like, hey, can we watch this again? I'll be like, sure, we'll watch it again. I'll order pizza, we'll watch it again. It wasn't bad, but I was hoping for them to really. I wanted to be scared by this. You know what I mean? I for everything I've heard about the game, I was just like, I want this fun mixture of this youthful stuff at this, Chuck E. Cheese kind of place, and the dreaded horror of one of these things trying to eat you and kill you and steal kids and shit like that. I wanted that to be mixed in a little more, and it was really unbalanced for me on that note. It should have been much scarier, I think. Now, maybe they'll do something kind of like what the Harry Potter movies did, how they matured over time, because I know they're planning on making at least 2 more of these. So I'm hoping that the next couple of movies they kind of push it a little farther. If they do that, I'll just say, okay, you guys kind of matured the movies along with maybe your audience a little bit, but for the most part, I was really hoping this was going to be a kind of a true horror movie. Again, not blood, guts, and spit and ass everywhere, but I mean, make it a bit more scary. You know what I mean? But yeah, they definitely leaned into the kid part of it a little too much. Let's talk about the basic plot of the movie first, and I'll start with you, Rachel. I mean, did the plot of the movie work for you? Not compared to the game necessarily, but just talking about this film specifically. Did the plot of the movie work out for you?
It's hard to say it without, thinking of the game, because it's, so directly based on it. But I can see what you were saying about it being more geared toward kids. And I guess that understanding is, the game itself came out in, I believe, 2014. Where I was in college, but a lot of people, the main audience of the game was children. So that's just something I wanted to add with that comment. I mean, the audience of this was children. It is a horrifying and scary game experience, but back to the movie plot itself, it worked for me. I think that having the extra story here and there to kind of explain things was helpful, since the plot of any of these games can be confusing, as well as just the movie being sort of confusing if you didn't know what was going on, things that were happening that you didn't really understand. But I liked the plot. It added new things to the lore, and it added almost a visualization of what it could look like, the game, the story itself. As for the plot, I thought it was easy to follow, but I can't remove myself from the knowledge of the lore to really answer that question. It's hard to remove myself from it, just because I'm so into it. You know what I mean?
I mean, you basically have the Bible in your hand of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to check out the other books she's got that she's been reading as well.
I have a whole shelf full of.
There's a whole thing behind her as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a whole.
Actually,
thing.
Oh no, you moved them in there. I'm like, there was a whole line of just the little figurines that were all up on that little shelf.
Yeah.
Just an entire line of them.
Like I said, it's hard for me to remove myself from the knowing what I know and separating the movie from what it all meant for the lore itself.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? What did you think of the overall plot of the movie? We'll talk about the movie versus the games and the other IPs later, but just for the movie specifically, what do you think of the plot of the movie?
Yeah, it's a good start. I liked it because what I was saying is, obviously when you make something like this, and like I mentioned The Last of Us, I'm like, that's my favorite game. So I'm sitting there like intently watching, and I'm like, I know about this already. So it could left turn, or it could be exactly spot on with something that happened in the game. but at the same time, like I want it to be able to be explained to someone who has no idea what it is, or like it can, just a casual fan who's maybe never played the game or seen it or something like that can still get into it. And I know this is step one. You got to lay the groundwork. And I know we have, I mean, really, I don't think, and I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think you don't even like see much or hear much. You're just like, yep, you're a security guard named Mike. Go get it. That's literally it. You know nothing about this guy. You're just like, you hear some voice on a recorder. And I mean, I'm going to already throw that little Easter egg out there when it was actually Afton that said it to him. He said, yep, well, I'll catch you on the flip side. So it's nice to at least give, you got to have a character. You got to have somebody that you care about. And, Mike has a stake in this too, with trying to take care of his little sister, and him having his own trauma of losing his little brother when he was young. And I know it's like, I've said this a million times. We've all seen a movie before. Yeah, you can probably see it a mile of fucking way that, yeah, it was definitely Matthew Lillard. But it's still like, there's still that connection here. And again, I think, like she said, this is, not necessarily for adults. I'm like, yeah, look, we all, well, except for Tex, we play Fortnite. That's a kid's game. And it is. But also I'm like, I'm in my 30s. I still play that game. So it's got a wide audience, but it is kind of geared more towards kids. And I think kids was kind of more your target audience, or at least someone like me and her who's been with this since 2014. So you're talking about another good 10 years. Some of those kids already may be they may be 20 now, you know what I mean? And seeing this come to fruition. This is cool. I really want to see what the other movies do. And like you said, Frank, it's like, there's a reason why Harry Potter 3 and 4 are my favorite, because that all of a sudden hit the fucking ground and it got dark fast. And I was like,
yeah.
Whoa,
As soon as Cedric Diggory dies, the entire tone of that franchise changes.
That's why I love 4 so much. Not because, like, it expanded the world. You got these other schools you're involved in. You got this cool tournament going on. Say what you want about Robert Pattinson. Love the guy. And this was pre-Twilight, but whatever. But I'm like, that is a fucking moment. And shit, to quote Bad Boys, shit got real. So, and I know we're not trying to have too much blood and guts, and this is like maybe PG-13, this movie. The game's a little bit more rated R. I'm sure we'll talk about the whole Springlock suit, but I'm like, that's a PG-13 way of going about it. Trust me, it is a lot more fucking horrifying. But if that's what I said in the comments, like, you know what, maybe it'll get some people into the games. Like, maybe go check out the games or watch, like, Matt Pad or Markiplier. Just sit down and watch them play the game. And, that's what I'm saying. Like with Last of Us, the sales shot up like 200% because people wanted to get into it. So if it did that for you, like, that's all I could hope for. Expand the fan base.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? Me and you, the novices to this world, how did you, just from the movie perspective, what did you think of the overall plot?
Well, plot-wise, I think it's kind of complex here. On one half, this is gateway horror. This is like, your experts here have said, this is like the Scooby-Doo of this generation, basically. So
yeah, Shaggy's there.
They got real heavy. On the, who gets parental rights of this child side of this movie. Like, why did they go so heavy into that in this film? Like this, I know this is a child's property, right? They want to see the bright, shiny lights in the Freddy Fazbenders or Five Nights at Freddy's, whatever. They want to see the suits, but for like the first, you don't even really get a good shot at the suits for maybe 30, 45 minutes into this film. It seems like they go heavy on the, the aunt wants the rights, but she smells like cigarettes and I don't like her. And it's like, what am I watching here? But it's just, I don't think PG horror works. Not by today's standards. Like in the 80s, PG-13, you had everything. Like swears, nudity, that was all there in PG-13. But at the end of the day, this is still horror, gateway or not. And when you handcuff it to a PG rating or whatever this was, you're taking away so many plot devices that you could be using. Like, what's the name of that little cupcake thing? I actually dug that. I thought that was kind of cool.
It's just Chica's cupcake.
It's just Chica's cupcake. There's some theories about that as an animatronic in itself, but I won't get into that right now.
Well, Cheesecake,
yes, Chica's
besides Stu, because he's not Easton, that's Stu. That's how I will forever refer to him as. That is Stu, by God. But, you know, like there's so many plot devices I felt was left. And obviously they want a sequel and they want to show more later. So that's probably why they didn't do it. But I just think plot wise, they left so much on the table by focusing so much on the family drama when that's not what you paid to see this movie for. You paid to see people getting eaten by robot creatures or killed by them or whatever happens to them. I'm not really sure. But I think they kind of missed the mark with that. You know what I mean?
I guess to be fair, weren't we just talking about Terrifier? Like, I mean, Terrifier 1 is kind of like, okay, there's this clown guy. Cool.
Yeah.
But then 2, like you said, even though it is like 2.5 hours of just like, here you go, here's everything else. There you go, take it. It's like, okay.
They just literally pile it on top of you 2.5 hours worth. Yeah.
So maybe, I mean, like you were saying, I still haven't seen 2 yet, but maybe that's kind of where I'm going with this. Is like, and like I said,
so you're saying this is kind of like a reverse. They went plot heavy on this one, and maybe the next one is the more actiony. Like Terrifier 1 is more actiony, and 2 has a story. Okay,
I would agree with that. I would agree with that if they're basing it upon the games.
You gotta lay the groundwork.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I would say so.
Because then after that, we don't have to anymore. It's like we know what's going to happen.
Right.
We know.
Well, it's like because I was watching it on my phone. Like I said, I just caught it on Peacock, and I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, crap. How many times do we have to see this guy playing Daddy? Okay, number one, Josh Hutcherson. He has the acting ability of a shoe. This guy sucks. I hate this guy. I don't know what this guy's deal is. But every time I saw him on screen, I'm like, can somebody kill this dude? Please make the robot bear eat him. Like that's what I was hoping for, but I didn't get my wish. So
you're getting ahead of yourself there, Tex.
I'm like, well,
just you wait.
Just sit tight.
Give it some time.
There's not just one security guard.
I was hoping because he had the charisma of a baked potato. Like that's the first thought that came to mind. But it is what it is.
And I was gonna say, I know you don't. I know we don't want to see, and we know Matthew Lillard signed like a 3-movie deal. So I'm like, he didn't die.
Right.
You know damn well he didn't die, and you
don't sign Matthew Lillard and not bring him back. Now he was underused. I will say that he was severely underused in this film. I will say that.
I get it. He's not meant to. He's just kind of in the background. And I know, again, there's so many Easter eggs here. If I say he's in the background pulling the strings, I'm like, well, there is a puppet that's coming. I'm pretty sure. There's a marionette puppet. I'm pretty damn sure is about to show up in this second movie. But he's going to, trust me, that's the important moment that we get to see him get spring locked. And then it's, like I said, it's going to get fucking real. You want to. I was going to say, Tex, if you want the best kind of comparison, think of him like he kind of becomes Michael Myers-ish. Like, he can get shot, set on fire, blown up, and like he said, he always comes back. It doesn't matter. This guy has the worst fucking karma in the world, and as he should, being a child predator / murderer. But, I mean, he's going to go through some shit, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be more prevalent in the next movies, or at least, you know, there's more to that.
Well, if you want to talk plot wise, I don't know who wrote this movie. I don't know if Scott Teems, you know, the Blumhouse writer that did the Halloween films, wrote this as well. But when William Easton, Stu, you know, Matthew Lillard is sitting there like, and he's reading Mike's name, and he reads the last name halfway and stops. I'm like, yep, he's the killer. He did it. Like you just gave away everything. I knew nothing going into it. I'm like, yep, that right there's your bad guy.
It actually got leaked several months ago that he was going to be playing
William Afton.
Did it? It wasn't.
William Afton.
Yeah, so that probably took a little bit of a bite out of the potential surprise. He was just one character.
Well, there's like 4 people in the movie, and if you cast Stu from Scream, you know he's going to be the killer. Like just kind of it's like it's that guy right there. You know what
I don't know anybody who was upset that got leaked. Honestly, I think that
upsetting.
drove more
We're happy about that
excitement
shit.
because
But
my
for some of the
gosh,
some of the casual fans, I think that moment might have popped a little more.
maybe, yeah, that's true.
I mean, because me not knowing what you guys know about it, if I would have got to that point in the movie where he takes the mask off, ironically enough, to expose himself to these meddling kids, I would have looked at that and been like, "Holy shit, I didn't know." Maybe if I didn't catch those elements like Tex was talking about, where he was just like, he reads the name. If I don't pick up on one of those subtle hits, then maybe that I would have got to that moment and been like, "Oh shit, crazy thing happened, plot twist," and I maybe would have seen the movie a little bit differently. But I mean, I don't know. I hate it when important things leak because it does kind of take away from the viewing experience, especially for people like me on something like this where I don't have the knowledge that you guys might have. But I mean, still, he was cool as a killer. For me, the plot, I'll go into it real quick. I mean, the plot was good. I don't know, do they go into much background on the Mike character in the games? Because I mean, I understand you have to give him a little bit of depth and a little bit of substance at some point in this movie. Having him being the father figure to his sister and his struggles. I mean, as a man who's raising kids, I got it. I kind of like emotionally to him. I was like, okay, I'm kind of on this guy's side now, and now he's going to go fight the crazy robot monsters who are trying to eat kids. But I mean, I don't know. Do they ever really do that?
So there are theories. I'm going to say that a lot.
A game theory?
Yes.
A film theory, maybe?
Film theory.
A game
both.
theory?
I think both.
I can't let that go.
So it's been suspected that Mike Schmidt is a pseudonym, and I'm going game side here. So stay with me. We're on the game side right now. Is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the game. Mike Schmidt is supposedly a pseudonym for one of Afton's sons, Michael. And later in the games, Michael, a whole other lot of stuff happens to Michael that I'm not going to say because they might do it in one of the next two movies. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go into that. It's been assumed that he was William Afton's son, Mike Schmidt, as a pseudonym instead of Michael Afton. In this movie, we're looking at this more from the book's perspective. And the book has so there's Henry, who was William Afton's business partner, and he had a daughter, Charlotte. William Afton killed Charlotte first. She's not in any of these animatronics. She's in something else, which I'm also not getting into right now because it might be in one of the next movies.
Well, I already let that slip just a few minutes ago.
But anyways, Charlotte, this is more similar to a Henry and Charlotte situation with Mike and Abby. That's what I'm going to say about that right now.
Okay.
Again, trying not to spoil future movie things while also attempting to explain what happened in this movie versus what's in the books, what's in the game. FNAF is a complicated universe, obviously.
Yeah. Put it lightly.
But they do give him a little bit of backstory, but not in the first game. You don't get any backstory, really. But
yeah, it's a very large universe too, because it's not just video games. There's books and all kinds of shit. So it's interesting to me. It'd be interesting to me to have like sit down with Rachel and watch all three of these and be like, they pulled this from. They kind of did like what the MCU does, rather than making a strict interpretation of everything that already exists in this universe. Well, we kind of picked and chose certain things and built a new cinematic thing around this.
And that's kind of what's happening here.
Because we're trying to make it all into a movie with 27 movies. They'd all be 7 hours long, and it'd just be a lot.
Because the cinematic universe has already differed from the first game in the way that they made Vanessa, William Afton's daughter.
I was going to say that.
Vanessa plays a different part within the series itself, which I'll be interested to see what they do with her, because obviously she's not dead, but she's barely alive. And in the FNAF universe, if you're not dead and just barely alive, bad things start happening to you. So
you start dressing up like a bunny, it just gets really weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. I was gonna say that too, and I'm like, I know I didn't see any leaks or anything like that, but like when I saw the trailer finally and I see some, blonde-haired cop with a ponytail come up to the pizzeria talking to Mike, I was like, immediately, I'm like, that's Vanessa. who the fuck else? It's got to be Vanessa.
So Vanessa
it was never sad, and I was like, but how?
And Vanessa was not introduced in that first game either. Vanessa was not introduced in the books first either. Vanessa was introduced in the VR game Help Wanted as
Glitch
sort
Trap?
of not Glitch Trap. William Afton.
That's Afton. My bad.
Vanessa was a developer on that game, which is very meta in itself. And then you really see Vanessa in the most recent Five Nights at Freddy's game as a security guard at the Pizzaplex, which is based in like the year 2030 something.
Yeah, I'm like, this is futuristic shit. I'm like,
yeah, so we're jumping around. Vanessa's jumping around.
I'm like, we didn't see Vanessa until just this last game, and we don't even know jack shit about this game. We're like, when does this take place? When's this happening? Who the fuck is Vanessa? Who the hell is Gregory? With the new DLC, who the heck is this little girl we just saw? Like, what? It's making my brain hurt even more. I don't like. I think that is futuristic, and like she said, death doesn't mean a damn thing in this universe, because ghost children possessing animatronics. So just take that for what you want. Yeah, but as soon as like she answered the door, like her first fucking line was, "My name's Vanessa." I'm like, God, fucking, there it is.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's gonna make my brain hurt a little bit. But there is theories that like she could be. What'd you say? Like, not remade, but she's.
So in generalized in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, there are what's called remnants, which is like your spirit, and remnants can be, as well as your body, your dead body, can be stuffed into an animatronic or put into a computer program, and in this universe, they can also make very hyper realistic humanoid robots. So I'll be interested to see what they do with that.
It's like who I'm cosplaying as is maybe being suggested that the kid in this recent game, like we said, takes place in like the freaking 2030s. This kid right here died in 1983.
Yeah.
So I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? And also, again, we're going to talk about how long William Afton's been in that suit. So, and just didn't die. So that's a whole thing. So.
I'm gonna need a map and I'm gonna need a map, compass, and a flashlight because I got lost about 5 miles back.
Yeah.
So we're going to
anyone who's been in the game will understand what Jeremy and I were talking about.
Yeah, they're just
hang on, wait.
They're just like, right?
Is this what it feels like whenever I start breaking down? Like, oh, well, actually, this version of the Texas Chainsaw Family is blah blah blah, and I spout off for 20 minutes.
Yes,
I've never been on the other side of it. I now understand.
This is what it feels like.
All right.
Next, I'm pretty sure this is how everyone
full circle. Gotcha.
Yeah.
When we were doing the Saw reviews, I'm like, that was probably a headache for some people. It's like, this happened at this point, but then there's a flashback at this point, and then this flashback, this happened.
Right.
Later, this happened in that flashback, and this flashback, that's happened to this person, but this actually wasn't happening. This was going on the full time. This was 10 years ago, but you don't know that yet because you didn't see it. Because I'm like,
we don't do a Friday night show. Jell's next project is Five Nights at Freddy's #Harsh Truth, where you two just nerd out for 9 more hours. That's Frank's new show right there.
9 hours is too little.
You know what? I saw a YouTube.
That would be game one.
Yeah, that would be game one. 9 hours.
let me just put it this way. I saw a video like a few days ago that said like, here, a short introduction to the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I kid you the fuck not, that video was 8 hours long. And I was like, that's
hilarious.
There is a TikTok that I saw that's animated that's like 30 seconds long, and it sort of describes the storyline.
Yeah, I was like, here's
quickly, but it's like it's not quite.
It's like 38 seconds long. I was like, oh,
yeah,
I guess you're right.
I do want to highlight a comment that somebody sent in a while ago. Actually, Derpy Entertainment says, I just want to say 9 years, 9 freaking years. It was worth it from a fan standpoint. And the casual audience, definitely not for you. That's kind of the way I feel, but
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Normally, I'd say that's not a good way to do things, but the reality is there is a huge fan base out there, and if you only spent $20 million making this movie only has to make probably $200 or $300 million to be kind of a big thing to make you a shit ton of money. So maybe if you draw in a couple of the casual fans, like guys like me who have kids that are into it, like my son and my stepdaughter are both really into this. They love Five Nights at Freddy's. So maybe by you're going to already have them. Then by bringing me into it, because I'm going to sit and watch it with them and be like, okay, this movie wasn't so bad. maybe that's actually not bad. I mean, you've got a huge fan base. As long as you keep the budget down, you're going to make a ton of money. So you've got a huge fan base. You're going to bring in a few people. So just keep the budget down, and this thing could not be a loss.
In all fairness,
as far as money goes, though, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to quickly.
Well, no, I was just going.
To be fair,
go ahead.
With The Last of Us, that was 10 years ago. The game came out 10 years ago, and we just now got a series of it. So nothing wrong with doing it right and wanting to wait to make something, that you'd actually want to put on screen.
As far as, how much money they make these things for, let's not forget Jason Blum is like the king of making cheap horror films that make 3 or 4 times their money within the first couple of weeks. That's why he got that. That's how he built the studio that he did. I mean, prior to the Halloween films, the biggest movies he ever did were The Purge, and they made those for like $20. I mean, very little to no money. So, I mean, now I'm not a big fan of Blumhouse. I've made that very clear on this channel, but Jason Blum and his people know how to make a product on a budget that can bank when it comes to the box office. So, as far as that goes, I mean, it is what it is,
But let's move on to the cast now. I can't knock the cast at all. I mean, Tex, what did you think of the cast of the film, and who kind of stood out for you?
Oh, it's Matthew Lillard. I mean, it's Stu. It's my dude. It's Shaggy. I mean, it's got to be Matthew Lillard for me. Like I said, I've already made my feelings known about Josh Hutcherson. This dude sucks. I don't know who he has naked pictures of to get this role, but it obviously worked. But I thought Vanessa was good. She played a very convincing. She plays the kid like when she's first introduced. She's I've got medical training, so if your heart stops, I'm the one you want to call. Kind of quippy, kind of funny. The whole being the daughter thing. I'll be honest with you, I didn't see that coming. But no, Matthew Lillard. I could go on 20 minutes talking about this guy. He's a horror icon. But I'd say him and Vanessa for me were the best out of the very small cast, but they were the top.
Yeah, Rachel, how about you? What did you think of the cast of the film, and who jumped out as one of your favorites?
Well, probably Matthew Lillard also. I think it would have been cool to see a little bit more of him as the William Afton character before he got his spring-locked death. But I also liked the little girl who played Abby. I thought she did a pretty good job of being very childlike, and I liked how they used her character to connect with the animatronics. And really, sometimes you watch movies where kids don't act like kids would act. That drives me nuts. But I felt like Abby acts like a kid. I mean, she felt like a child. I don't know. Some movies I watch and the kids are talking way above what their reading level is, or they're, it just, the plot line doesn't work when, I don't know. That's just a personal thing of mine. If you have child actors who don't act like children when they're supposed to be playing children. But I thought she did a really good job. As for Josh Hutcherson, I mean, he's not the greatest actor in the world, in my opinion, but I think he portrayed what needed to be portrayed well. I mean, that kind of flat security guard kind of affect was interesting, I thought. I think he could have been a little bit more passionate in his dream sequences, but besides that, I mean, I don't know. It kind of worked for what it was for me.
Is his character a drug addict?
No,
it makes it pretty clear that he's taking the sleeping pills because he's trying to dream.
He's trying to,
because he's
okay. Well,
in there that's gonna, so he's not addicted. He's not doing something for to try to get information.
That's what I figured, but I didn't know if they had put like an underlying like hidden storyline text of like drug abuse within his character or something. I didn't know, but I was just curious.
I thought for a minute they were going to go that way because there was a lot of focus in the pill bottles.
Yeah.
But then after you kind of hear him talk and stuff like that, it's pretty clear that he's trying to get some information about the disappearance of his brother all the years earlier.
I do have an interesting tidbit about the dream theory.
It's just
So Scott Cawthorn,
Film
right? Scott,
I'm going to do that every
time I say
working.
it, I'm gonna get.
Yeah, we got to get the map pad out of the way now.
I can't not do it. I've seen too many of his videos. I've been wired this way.
No, I get it. But so Scott Cawthorn likes to make fun of his fans. That's just kind of a thing he does. He's not only makes a good horror franchise, but he also puts a lot of humor into his games, like stupid stuff that's like funny if you're paying attention. So the dream theory was actually a very popular theory, I think, by MatPat, that the whole sequence of the first game was a dream, which wasn't the case. But that's why it's been speculated that that's why this dream sequence is in this movie, because so many people believed that was what was going on in the first game, that it was Mike Schmidt dreaming. And so that was just kind of an interesting tidbit that I've heard as, a theory.
A film theory.
A film theory, yes. But just thought I'd add that in.
But Jeremy, how about you? What did you think of the cast of the film, and who was your favorite, other than Matthew Lillard?
I'm gonna say Foxy. Yeah, I went there because honestly, no, I mean if I wanted to say animatronics again, I'm gonna give a big round of applause to these puppeteers, because holy crap, there's a way to make them move and be terrifying, and that they look very robotic, and they're very, but when they start to move a little more fluidly, it's kind of terrifying. And especially when Mike was trying to get up to them and use that little shot of Freddy when he's singing, and he just turns and looks right at him. I was like, whoa, Jesus Christ. And if you know anything about Foxy, I mean, Foxy's a fucking, she's a runner, she's a track star. That's the thing for the game. Foxy, that's what her background is right now, is the hallway. You see him sprinting down that hallway, it's over. It's horrifying. That's what Foxy does. Because all the animatronics do something that's kind of related to how the kids died. And that was, because the kid who died.
There's a theory about how each of the kids died. Foxy died trying to run away. So
that's why Foxy always runs. Yeah. I was going to say, obviously, Matthew Lillard. He's Matthew Lillard. I think this can become a pretty iconic character for him. Not just Stu Macher. It's I think he's going to make a killer pun intended, but a killer William Afton. Josh.
He's no Sharon Stone. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is.
Yeah, he got locked in that stew, and he was like, "I'm real woozy, man."
He'll be right back.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love Stu Macher. He's one of the greatest characters of all time. I love that character.
And other than like she said, Abby played a pretty convincing little sister / just being a kid, kind of just full of wonder once she gets into the the pizzeria. Also, I was gonna say that when I almost said Stu, Jesus, when Mike fell asleep. And he took her to work. And, she left, and she said, "Yeah, I'll be right back." You don't say that in a horror movie. Damn it! Didn't you listen to Stu?
Rachel did say something interesting before we went live about this whole multiverse theory, and we know Stu's been gone from the Scream franchise for a while. So maybe he got that, time stone or whatever, hopped over to this place, opened a pizza joint to keep
pizza coin.
Yeah, he found a magic pizza coin to, obviously, Stu had rich parents, right? So it makes sense that he would have access to money to start a pizza franchise. So he started Five Nights at Freddy's, and then he just turned into killer robots, and then. Even as a robot, he does the ghost face wiping the knife, which I thought was really cool. But multiverse theory, so a text theory. There you go.
A text theory.
A text theory.
For throwing Vanessa in there, I was like, okay, I'm going to hear you out. And honestly, and again, like Rachel was saying, I'm like, I can't get it out of my head that I'm like, the thing about the game is like lingering in the back of my head because I'm like, wait, how are you here? Why are you here? What are you doing here? What? But then I had to think, oh yeah, this is not exactly, this isn't the games / like books anymore. This is this film world that we're making out of this. So I'm like, okay,
it's a different interpretation of the material, basically.
Yeah, so I'm like, we're gonna twist it a little bit. When she said she's Afton's daughter, I was like, well, again, I've seen the movie, so I kind of saw that coming. But I was like, well, wait, Afton has a son named Michael. I'm like,
yeah, because Afton originally, in the game universe, has 3 children.
True.
Michael, the crying child, and Elizabeth. The crying child doesn't have a name. I mean,
he's just called the crying child. Yeah,
he's just the crying child.
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, I don't have anything negative to say about the cast. Really, I do like the little girl that what's her name, Piper Rubio, that played the sister. Mary Stuart Masterson, kind of obnoxious. I mean, I still harbor my 80s teen movies crushes on her, even though she's definitely not a spring chicken anymore, but she still looks pretty good. Matthew Lillard, come on. I mean, he's Stu, he's Shaggy. I mean, I've been watching that all the way back to Hackers. You guys remember that movie from the mid or late 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've known that guy for, I've watched this stuff for a long time.
He's also a great in 13 Ghosts, too.
He was. I like Josh Hutcherson and the stuff that he's in. He never really has to carry anything, though, until this is the first time I've ever seen him try to carry a film. And he does come off as a bit of a stick in the mud. I mean, he doesn't carry the Hunger Games franchise. That whole thing is mostly focused on Jennifer Lawrence. And even in that, I thought that he was a bit bland at times because he has a character that you could have done something with, but his character was kind of blah. I think Brady, your ghost host in the chat, said earlier that he peaked with Bridge to Terabithia, which is actually a very good movie. He might be onto something. I mean, that's the only movie I've seen with him in it. Now, I haven't seen a lot of his stuff when he was really, really young. I know that he was a child actor a long time ago, but I haven't seen a lot of stuff past that where his acting ability has really shown through. The Vanessa character, I sniffed her out from the jump. As soon as she walks in and she starts asking these kind of weird questions, I'm like, you obviously are a bigger part of this than they want me to know right now. And I would have rearranged the dialogue in a way to where she was a bit more subtle. Because, like I said, as soon as she walks in, she starts asking these questions. I'm like, you wouldn't be asking these questions unless you were in on something. Yeah. They were very leading, very, very like trying to get information out of it. It wasn't casual conversation. So I kind of sniffed her out from the beginning, which was a bit of a disappointment because, I wanted the surprise. I wanted not the M. Night Shyamalan kind of plot twist. Oh my God, he's been dead the whole time. Kind of thing.
Dead all along.
I wanted something at the end of the movie to surprise me and build me up for everything that would happen in the climax. And that to me is something they could have done. Her performance wasn't bad, but yeah, I mean Matthew Lillard. As much as I would love to have seen him in more of the movie, you couldn't really have put him in more of the movie and not had the reveal of him actually being Atherton at the end. So if he would have been around too much, maybe it would have been him popping in over a couple points of the movie, checking on him instead of Vanessa, but you need Vanessa for obvious plot reasons. So
right.
I don't know. I think probably we'll see more of him more than likely in his suit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In subsequent films. But I mean, you couldn't have expected him to carry it because this really is Josh Hutcherson's movie. I just don't think that he carries the film the way that you would expect your lead to carry the film. Mm-hmm. He is a bit of a stick in the mud. I don't know that maybe this wasn't his best work. I don't know. I don't want to say he wasn't the right actor because I don't know. I don't know who they were going to cast. I don't know who I would have cast in the role, but he didn't quite carry with the gravitas that I want a leading. Yeah, Mark. Well, he got his moment. He got his moment. He was the winner. But there's something about him. He didn't have any weight. He didn't throw his energy around. It's just he was kind of blah. But whatever. I mean,
if my life sucked that bad too, I'd be like, God, I gotta babysit this rundown like Chuck E. Cheese. Okay, if it keeps my fucking aunt away from us, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell he's been through the ringer the last good bit of his life. Well, I guess since his brother died, really, like his life kind of spiraled out of control. So I don't know. Dude, that does a number on you.
The one thing I do like, though, I want to point out was the kids in the dream. Like, the only really kind of spooky stuff that happens in this movie that got me really excited that maybe the movie was going to take a darker turn, was when he's in the dream and he's talking to the kids. I'm just like, that's some spookiness right there that I think you can build off of, but they never really delivered. There's a couple of weird scenes, like where the kids are like running by him and he's trying to follow them and they disappear and stuff like that.
Their faces blur.
Those are
like
some
the
really
Freddy
cool
kid right there.
Yeah, those are some really cool tension building scenes, but I just don't think they had the payoff that I was hoping to have. But yeah, the stuff with the kids was actually really cool, especially when you see like the one kid, the blonde kid in the red striped shirt. When you see him poking his head out from behind the curtain where the animatronics are, and then he like pulls back at the curtain, and then when the curtain opens up, you see the Freddy Fazbear animatronic there. Yeah. It's kind of like his ghost is running Freddy. That was kind of the
it is. That is what's happening. That's what's happening.
Yeah, that was a cool little throw.
Yeah, I liked that scene. I like that.
But yeah, I mean, all the stuff in the dreams with the kids, I like that dialogue, the back and forth. That was the only time that Josh Hutcherson really,
I would agree.
That he was really kind of giving it the balls. You know what I mean? It's like that was the only time where he was really looked like he was into even being on set. But now I'll get to the part where I'm gonna expect Rachel and Jeremy to kind of carry this part, because what the hell did me and Tex know? Let's compare the game to the movie. I mean, again, not going too far into what's maybe coming next, because I know this focus primarily in the early part of the lore, the first game and things like that. But I'll go to you first, Rachel. I mean, compare these two. What are some of the big differences, and do you think that they were wise to make the changes that they made for the material up to this point?
So some of the big changes from the game in the game, Chica's cupcake does not do that.
True.
However, the idea of the cupcake comes from the little girl who was killed and was stuffed into Chica. Her name was Susie. And Susie allegedly had a dog. And Afton killed the dog too. And so I think they built off of that. And I think that Chica's cupcake is her dead dog. I think there's a dead dog in that cupcake. And I liked that addition because that cupcake was feral. That cupcake was just feral. And I loved that. I thought that was fun. Just to add that in there. I thought that was pretty neat. Obviously, kind of like what I said before, Vanessa being Afton's daughter is this is the first time that's happened. Was in the movie. I think it was kind of a good way to piece the story of the movie together. But it does make things more confusing when talking about the timeline and the universes. Like I said before, you really see Vanessa in the latest game, which is set in a futuristic time. When, she's the security guard at this Pizzaplex, but also a giant rabbit. Rabbits play a big theme obviously in the FNAF universe. You've got Bonnie, you've got the Springlock suit. That's
Danny.
Yeah, William Afton was in. You have Banny, who have what's called Glitch Trap, which is a whole other. It's very meta. I'm not going to get into that. It's too much information that won't add to what I'm trying to say. But
the same one in the DLC as well that we just played.
Yeah,
the Ruin. I think that was
there was that's a different. That's another bunny, but it's a different bunny. There's a lot of bunnies, is what I'm trying to say. I think I liked that they kept Foxy kind of out of order, and Foxy's animatronic kind of more withered than the rest of them, because Foxy is frequently out of order in the game, and he just kind of peeks out, and then all of a sudden he's sprinting directly at you. Like we kind of said that earlier, that Foxy is just runs. Kind of going into that, we say Chica, the girl who was killed, she died screaming, so Chica's mouth is always open. She's always hungry. Freddy was hiding. And Bonnie was trying to fight back. In the games, Bonnie is the most aggressive animatronic, trying to come and break down the door. I also like that they kind of kept the theme of the 6 a.m. is when your night's over. You go from midnight to 6 a.m. And that they kept that the same, which I think was good. They kept the electricity needing to be reset. That was more so, it wasn't reset. You would just run out of power. And if you run out of power, you can't shut the door.
You die.
And then you die, essentially. They kept that. So the games and the original Five Nights at Freddy's is set in Utah. And I wasn't really certain of where this was supposed to be set in the United States. I couldn't tell based upon context clues unless I missed something.
I looked at Vanessa's cop car and it said like GFPD, and I'm like, Grand Forks? I don't know.
That would be Washington, which wouldn't be too far away.
Yeah, because like I was looking for clues too, and I'm like, the only thing I saw was on Vanessa's patrol car, and I'm like, I don't know what GF is, but I was thinking Grand Forks. That's close.
All of the areas inside the actual pizzeria look incredibly similar to the cameras that you see on the game. My background here is one of the hallways from the first game. You can kind of see it if I move around a little bit.
Just start running.
Right, start running. So the security office and the vents. The vents were not a thing in the first game, but they are very important in the rest of the series. I mean, I think their vents are included in every single game after the first one in one way or another. There are always vents for the animatronics to crawl through or for you to crawl through, depending on what game you're playing. I think I'm trying to think of any other, compare and contrast points from that first game to this one. Obviously, the animatronics look pretty much identical to how they do in the game in this. Besides their eyes changing color, their eyes don't really change color. But they also added, what was that dog's name we were talking about?
Sparky.
Earlier? Sparky. Sparky was a fan theory that wasn't real. And they added it into this movie, which was kind of interesting. Kind of like how I was talking about the dream theory earlier.
Troll.
Yeah, Scott is a troll.
Scott is a troll. I love it.
Somebody had photoshopped a dog animatronic named Sparky into one of the clips from the first game. And a lot of people believed it was really there when it wasn't. And in the scene where all of the people who broke in to try to cause trouble inside of the pizzeria were dead and stuffed in animatronics, you see Sparky in that scene. So that's kind of an interesting little Easter egg too. As for comparing and contrasting, that's kind of all I have, I think, unless you have anything else.
I was like, if she left anything else for me, Jesus.
I was gonna say, I think I covered everything, but I don't know.
there's a few things I was gonna say. There was that one suit that we also saw. Well, I think there was 3 suits, and then I think an endoskeleton in that back room. We saw like Shadow Freddy. I think was it Fetch and Sparky or something, because there was.
I thought it was Fetch at first, but it was not Fetch. It was Sparky.
There's 2 different dog animatronics. Yeah.
Fetch is a books only animatronic short story.
Okay,
that's a short
story.
See
what I mean? One. Jesus Christ!
Because I thought it was Fetch at first too, but I looked at it again.
But there was another suit that was back there, and again, it is for exposition and context that it explains what the spring lock suits are. I thought it was like Circus Baby because there's a sister location, which that's one of the animatronics. So I thought, oh, is that it?
That's a book too.
Yeah, but it's actually not. This kind of not only just seems like the first game, but it seems like it's going off the books. The series called The Silver Eyes, because there's a lot of things in it that are more akin to that. Like I said, there was that animatronic that was the spring lock, which if you kind of get the hint that like the suits from like the 80s onwards were, electronic. That's why you can basically zap them and they're kind of down for the count. But the older suits that they had people wearing, the spring locked ones, don't do that. They're just suits. So,
well, they're hybrid suits, actually.
Well, I mean,
so the very first
they have mechanics, but you know what I mean. They're actual animatronics. But
so the very first set of suits were mascot costumes, flat out. They were just costumes. The second set which is what William Afton got in. It was a spring locked. So it could either be a mascot or a robot. The spring locks make the difference. So you would undo the spring locks so a human could get inside of there and move the animatronic around. And if the spring locks are closed, you can use the mech to control for them to move. But if you're a human being inside of there and the spring locks come undone, well, we all saw what happens when that happens. It all goes into your body. All the mech is inside of your body. So,
Jeremy, is there anything you want to add? Because I mean, I'm sure that Rachel could go for another 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, easily. I'm trying to keep it to one game and one book and
but that is hard with this series. Like I said, that other animatronic, like I said, that was to explain what the spring locks were. But that's also another hint towards something. And again, I think the biggest thing was Vanessa, but we don't know. It could be whatever. Maybe the timeline's a little different, but again, this is the movie stuff, so who knows? Obviously, we never saw Nat Pat in the games, so he's there.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. There was a Sparky's Diner, which is kind of hilarious. And again, Scott being a troll, he named his Matt Pat's character Ness because of a video he did about the character of Ness from
Undertale.
In Undertale. So I'm like, it's very deep cuts, and I love shit like that. It's just so funny. Obviously the family drama, there was no, like I said, you're just like not a nameless, but you're just a security guard named Mike. So that's kind of your other big difference. Also, my headset is dying, so I'm going to go probably change that. And it sucks because these is my 80s, headphones. And it's constantly blaring on my ear like low battery. I'm like, okay, I hear you. Running out of power, damn it.
I won't bother asking Tex. To be honest, me and him can't really comment on this much for the movie versus the game. But I mean, I don't know. Tex, do you have anything to add? I mean,
do you have any questions from all of my explanation?
Next.
I'm just gonna pretend this is high school, and I'm gonna copy off of her homework. That's what I'm gonna do. That's the smarter move. So, as before we started this, I said the only aficionado for this review is gonna be her. I mean, and Jeremy, of course, but I'm on the bench for this one. I'm just more of general. I guess I'm here to fulfill the role of general audience, thoughts of the film. It's needed. We want to cover all bases. It's fine. So so it's all good.
Yeah, because this is how you probably feel how I feel watching you guys every week. Because I'm like, okay, yep.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because I'm not a huge film buff, but if there are certain things like this that I'm really into, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna look for all of the things that are connected in this whole big thing. But like other movies, I'm kind of like, yep, it was a movie. Well,
that's what's good. I mean, we've got a good little group of us that hang out over here that we all have our own little specialties. I mean, of course, some have, similarities in genre or whatever. But I mean, depending on what kind of film it is, I mean, we can cover pretty much all bases. I like what we've got a good little team going that we've assembled. But it's all good. So fun.
We've talked a lot in the past. As a matter of fact, we did a whole couple-hour stream a couple of years ago about video game adaptations, why they generally have not worked very well, what some of the better ones are. So, I'll go to Rachel on this one first. Do you think that this kind of breaks that chain of bad video game adaptations? Does this qualify as a good one to you?
I think this is a good one. I think it follows so closely, and there was so much fan service in this that I think it's a good one. I think it's, and the numbers also don't lie. Like I think Brooding Gamer said earlier in the chat, it's like the numbers do not lie. I mean, of course, the critics were like, okay, we don't like this, but they didn't. What movie critics out there playing video games right now? Really?
That was me.
I mean, fair, but I mean like majority. They're not looking into the depth of the actual story. They're taking it at this is a movie and this is a face value movie, which, you know, is a viewpoint you can appreciate, but you can't say it's a bad movie when the audience score is 90%. That's just my take on it. I thought it was a good adaptation of the video game, and I think it has a lot of places to go. And I think that, you know, moving on into at least 2 more movies is going to continue being really hype. I mean, really exciting. I'm excited to see the next thing that they do. I'm interested to see if they go, you know, in the game order or how they're going to, you know, what they're going to jump to next. Because there are a lot of places to jump from here. There were a lot of places to jump from the first game. I mean, if you're looking at the games themselves, the second game is actually a prequel. So we might be going back in time, which, you know, it's possible we could go back in time. It's possible for us to jump forward in time or adjacent to this time. There's a multitude of places you can go with this series. So I'll be interested to see where they go next. I think this was a great jumping off point.
Tex, how about you? I mean, I don't know how many video game movies you've really seen. I mean, there've been a few horror ones like Silent Hill and stuff like that, but do you think that this is maybe one of the video game based films that is actually going to overall be accepted by the fans?
Well, I'm not even sure if that's a fair statement to say right now. I mean, we just had the Mario movies. I mean, that's a video game that people seem to like, and the newest Sonic films with Jim Carrey. People seem to really dig those as well. I mean, yeah, obviously the old cliche was video game movies don't do well. I mean, I'm a
Mario movie though.
Oh well, that was a whole thing.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, I was a big fan of the original Resident Evil movies, and now obviously they had Alice, which wasn't from the games, but I played almost all the Resident Evil games, and I felt like they took enough from the games to make kind of a new story that it didn't feel so bad. But there's been a lot of bad video game films. Like I said, the only way I can measure this by is how well do the Five Nights at Freddys fans receive this movie. Like I said, I'm the casual audience watching this, and it seems like Rachel and Jeremy, the hardcore audience for this IP, are really digging it. So, I mean, just by that standard alone, I mean, for them, I have to say it's a good film. For myself, I'm good. If I ever see it again, it'll be too soon. But, you know, it's just, you know, it's different taste for different folks, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, this is a very targeted audience film, and, you know, there's room for that. You know, not everything is made for everybody, so it's all good.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you think? I mean, the last couple of video game-based movies have done pretty well, this one included, financially anyway. I mean, certainly with the fans. Do you think that maybe we've gotten over the hump with the video game adaptations and we're kind of hitting the golden age of the video game movie?
Yeah, we're in a better place than we were in '93 when we tried to make a Mario movie. So
that's what I was just.
She just said.
I thought I heard you say Mario. I was trying to readjust my stuff.
Yeah, I just mentioned that.
That's my. Oh, that's great. We don't mention it. That's the thing. Yeah, as cheesy as the Mortal Kombat movies were, they're still great. They're still entertaining. They're fun. That theme had no fucking business going that way.
The first one was. The second one was made for $5 and a ham sandwich.
So, two is that's fair. Even like Street Fighter was bad. Doom was bad. Prince of Persia was okay.
I liked that one.
Yeah, it was all right.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a video game movie.
Prince of Persia, yeah.
I'll be down. Okay.
Yeah. And I still stand by my thought of where we did get over that hump finally was I think we got 2 kind of right back to back, which was Assassin's Creed and then Tomb Raider. And I'm like, I was looking at those and I'm like, those were actually pretty good. And being
Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider or the newest one?
No. Alicia Vikander. I don't know how to say her
name. So the newer one then.
Yeah, I was gonna say I forgot about that too, and there's part of the reason why I forgot about that. I was also like a kid. I don't know. Triangle Boob, Angelina, Jesus Christ, whatever. Triangle Boob, Laura, and Angelina Jolie aren't hard to look at, but in all fairness,
They're gonna say
not
she
great.
can fill out that tank top. That's all I know about.
That's kind of the point.
They're not triangles. They're not canon.
It's not a biblically.
We'll just get her one of those bras from the 50s that are just cones. It'll be fine. That's all you got to do.
The hashtag not my Laura Croft. Girls in my day didn't have curves; they had edges.
I draw the line at triangle titties. By God, that's where I stand.
Oh, that's funny.
I saw a girl at Comic-Con dress up as triangle boob Laura, and I thought it was the greatest damn thing I've ever seen.
That was very funny.
Yeah, even those were kind of Resident Evil was like that was fun, but that's not really. It was its own thing. It wasn't bad. But I still said like Assassin's Creed and the new Tomb Raider was kind of where it started to get good again. And then with the Martyr movie, I was like, yeah, we're doing it. We're hitting it hard and we're doing it good. And I would even say a show like The Last of Us, I'm like, see, we're doing the right thing here. And like I mentioned, you got to have the people that understand it to be involved because it's not gonna work the way you want it to. No one's gonna like it. So again, with Scott being involved, and of course, I think this is started. Yeah, like you said, I think we're getting to a better place with video game movies finally being what they should be. So, actually, even the new Mortal Kombat, I didn't really mind, honestly. The one from like what? 20
It was a really good start. It kind of petered out towards the end a little bit to me, but it was all right.
It started strong, and then it was.
They're coming out with
They introduced that new character for no reason, like the Descendant of Scorpion. I'm like, you know what? There's like 15,000 Mortal Kombat characters that you could have already used, and you have to create a new one. Like, I didn't like it.
I guess I kind of got it from like a movie standpoint, but I'm like, hey, I don't need you here. You could have still told. Just the story alone of Scorpion versus like Sub-Zero, like that's a hell of a story just in itself. Mm-hmm. So, and like Tex said, that's something I grew up with was Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of goddamn characters in that series, and I mean a lot, man. I played a lot of the games. Armageddon is still one of my favorites, and a pretty big roster. So, and I think, it did kind of fall on its face a little bit. And I'm like, if you go the way I think you're going with a sequel here, where you're going to just Johnny Cage and some other people, I'm like, okay, I see you. But I think we're getting to a better place, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, for me, and we talked about this when we did the stream a couple of years ago about video game movies. There was a lot of people who had no idea what the core stories of the video games were, trying to make movies based on these video games.
Yeah,
and that's one of the reasons why a lot of these were falling flat. And me and Jeremy sat here and broke down every episode of Last of Us, which to me is kind of the apex of anything video game to screen that has transitioned. That series front to back was amazing.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
And the biggest difference is the people that were there to create the stories of the game were in on creating the story for this film. So while you were changing mediums, you still had people there that were steeped in this story, steeped in this world, and wanted to make sure that the characters were represented well, the story progressed at the right pace, that it went the right path. People that were there from the beginning wanted this thing to be as good just on screen instead of on the console. And I think that's what you're seeing a lot of now. The guys that, Scott Cawthon and Cuddleback, the guys that created the game, I think Cuddleback had something to do with creating the game. I don't know.
A bit, yeah. But Cawthorn is the writer of the books also. He writes all the books. He's the lore.
He does everything. Yeah.
But he's someone deeply involved in the story, so he wants to make sure the story is told right. So maybe this is just the one movie, but we'll probably end up getting 3. But I mean, over the course of this whole run, however many movies they make, he's going to be there to say, this is how I want the story to progress to make sure it's true to the core parts of the story and the character that we're going to put on screen. And having somebody like that around is what makes it good. I mean, what did you say the audience score on this was? 90-something percent?
90-something
percent. I think 90 last time I checked. It may be like 88 or some shit now.
Yeah, it might have been down, but
yeah. So
the last time I looked, it was 90.
I mean, it's great when you look on Rotten Tomatoes and a movie has a critic audience split of like 90, 93 or something like that.
And then we all collectively say, "All right, shut up."
But the reality is critics they go, and I've been saying this for years. One of the reasons why I just stopped reading critics' reviews in newspapers and shit is that critics go to every movie wanting to see the next great piece of cinematic art, and I'm like, I just want to be entertained for a couple hours. I mean, yeah, it's great to go watch something that's got a lot of Oscar potential, like an Oppenheimer or something like that. But then some nights I just want to go see, hey, this Five Nights at Freddy's movie looks fun. I just want to go see it and be entertained for a couple hours. And if that movie entertains me for a couple hours, that's great. I don't need to see the next best actor performance. I don't need to see the next Oscar winning, generation defying performance by anybody. I just want to be entertained. And I walked away from this movie fairly entertained, not thinking, having issues with some of it, but not hating it. I mean, like I said, I walked away from it like, okay, that was fun. It was an interesting little movie, but the important part here, like I said earlier, is going to be the audience. And right now the audience is at 90-something%. And that's not just people like Rachel and Jeremy who are really involved and have a great knowledge of the lore of the games and the books. That's also people who just went to take their kids like me to see it. They're the ones that are also on there like, oh yeah, I'm giving this movie like a 9 out of 10 because it was entertaining. It was fun. It was pretty cool. So that's what's important to me. What were you saying, Jay?
Just like that, I got it up right now. It's critic review is 30%, audience score is 88, so still pretty damn high, and that's
it's a big split.
The 30% of them can fuck off. You don't understand art.
No. Yeah, critics don't dick about movies.
I know, and I know we do it, but I'm like, I don't know, we still enjoy movies, and I was gonna say, I as jaded as we are, I mean, when you think about it, this is a horrifying premise. Kids got fucking murdered, man, and stuffed into fucking suits.
Yeah.
Now,
that's
okay,
horrifying.
I do have to ask though. Obviously, y'all have seen Willy's Wonderland, right?
That was a great movie. Yeah.
And the Banana Splits, yes.
I loved that movie.
Now, with those coming out ahead of this one, and this being so tame, even coming from a more hard product, do you think that's kind of an albatross around this film's neck, weighing it down a little bit more? Because you've seen the more adult, you've seen Nicolas Cage being the janitor fighting these things.
Yeah.
That's the mistake I made. I watched Willy's Wonderland before I watched this.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now, I shouldn't have done that. I should have not even watched that or rewatched it and just took this in and then maybe gone back. So I think maybe those films coming ahead of time kind of hindered this one a little bit.
To be fair, my point with those is I'm like, that's just Five Nights at Freddy's. And then I saw Banana Splits.
Right.
Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm like, it always compared back to that because I'm like, no. That's what you're trying to be. You're not the thing. I'm like, that is what you're based off of. And those movies
Banana Split Gang was based off of something.
Well, no, I'm like, see,
but Willy's Wonderland was this premise.
We have three different versions.
Haunting animatronics, essentially. But neither of those have the depth of storyline that this
No. This is just
I'm not saying they do, but
but the movie
I was just saying just as a film.
Yeah, as a film, like the level of I could have stood to see I also would agree with I'm kind of torn. I'll say that. I'm torn on, this movie may not have gotten as much revenue if it was rated R, simply because so many children are into this franchise. And how many nowadays, how many parents are taking their kids to R-rated movies more than they used to, sure. But not to the level of which they would take them to see something PG-13, which is what this movie was. However, if it was rated R, you could have gotten a lot more of that. I would have loved to see. So the Springlock scene specifically, I would have loved to see. So
Jesus,
we talk about how aggressive it is, right? But in the game, it is in 8-bit. The animation of that happening is 8-bit.
Yeah,
he gets stuffed in the suit, and it crunches and it just makes all this noise, and he's jutting around, and then there's blood everywhere. But it's 8-bit. I would have loved to have seen that in a real life adaptation, and that would have made it rated R. Absolutely, because the Springlocks. We got to see the Springlocks kind of pushing in, and he's crumbling, right? But how cool would it have been to have the blood gushing out of the suit and running down the neck of the outside? Like, that would have been really cool. We kind of got a little
in
level
reality,
of that when, you know.
In reality, it wouldn't be that hard to get a rated R cut of this movie. I mean, like the scene where the cupcake goes up to the guy and like it gets right to his face.
Mm-hmm.
Give us like 10 more seconds where you see it bite down on the head and blood splatter.
There's definitely spots.
You don't have to. I'd be willing to bet they probably shot extra footage that they cut out of it to get down to a PG-13.
I've heard rumors that there's like 9 hours of cut footage.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
You guys maybe
they could probably do like an unrated cut.
Oh yeah, I'm being
the
punch here.
The thing that really kind of went there, and we didn't even see it because the way it's shot and the way you see just the shadow is the babysitter getting bit right in half, and then
that shocked me. That shocked me a little bit because I wasn't ready for it.
Well, it's supposed to, because we all know, if you're a fan of the game, you know damn well what that is.
Yeah, don't go in the mouth.
You see her pull up the chair and look inside, and like, that happened to this kid right here.
Yeah,
and then you get chomped. That's so.
I did think that was a cool shot though, with the kid's hand coming out of that. Yeah, I liked that scene.
You can see
it could have been
the teeth.
It could have been much more gory if this was rated R. You could have had those mechanical teeth sinking in, and the gore that you're missing from what it could be is probably the movie more interesting to horror fans. Just of the movie,
I'd be willing to bet that they have enough footage to put a different cut of this film together to.
I would agree.
Do a more adult version for the the kids aren't buying the novels and everything else. That's the adults are doing that.
Some of them are. I mean, they're not. Some of them are higher reading level, but some of them they put with the kids' books. So I don't know.
Really?
I think some kids are reading these.
That's surprising, actually.
They're just graphic novels like comic books.
It reminds me of what's that called? The book series, the Goosebumps, I guess.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Oh, Goosebumps.
It reminds me of that kind of a thing. Again, but it just a little back.
This did have this movie did have a 90s Goosebumps feel to it.
Yeah.
Like a very watered down version of it. I did feel that.
Yeah. I guess my point is, I think of those books, and as a child, I was very sheltered and I wasn't allowed to read those books, so I probably wouldn't have been allowed to read these books if I was a child now, which makes them scarier to me.
Yeah, they have a new Goosebumps series on Disney Plus now. I haven't watched any of it, but just
I watched it. I was.
It's gateway horror. It's not meant to be like the shit we're used to seeing. I know we've all seen a slew of things like this, and I'm like, I know we want to see the babysitter getting ripped in half. We want to see Afton actually like his bones snap and his like lungs collapse and blood. We want to see that. I'm like, right, but we're not going to.
The question is what can you get away with it and keep it like PG-13 or something like that?
Yeah, you can't show the blood. You can't.
I noticed when Atherton was in the suit and it was kind of like collapsing on him, you could see like the clamps kind of like coming in and piercing his skin by the ribs, but you didn't see blood.
Right.
So it's like as long as there's not a great amount of, I mean, you can get away with a little bit of blood, but as long as there's not like a pool of blood and like stuff in Terrifier where he's doing or Art the Clown's doing some of that stuff.
Nothing like that.
As long as you're not getting to that point, you can probably still keep like a PG-13, but still show some stuff. I mean, the body getting bitten in half was kind of a cool effect. That was the one shot. That was the one shot of the movie where me and my youngest son were watching it with me, and we both kind of went, "Oh, that was cool." But all you saw was like the bottom half fall away. You didn't see like blood spurting everywhere.
Yeah, the spine splitting, any of that. Yeah,
there was nothing terribly visual. It was more, you saw it more in silhouette than anything else because the way it was lit.
Which is kind of reminiscent of the games in a way too, because it's like you have this death in 8-bit, you have this death, and you can only hear what's going on. You have this dialogue that William Afton is speaking to you. You have a shadow of something. I mean, it's kind of like teaser horror in the games. And
I didn't so much mind it, except for one scene. the scene where I think it was the Freddy suit, the one that has like the fan blades inside of it, like that cut people up. I don't know which one of the suits it was, but
That's
like the guy is trapped in. Is
That's
that not a suit?
No,
That's not.
Well,
that is.
I don't
That's
know
also
whatever it
new to
was.
the movie. That's new to the movie. I don't know what that was.
Oh,
It
well,
wasn't a suit.
That scene where like he's tied up and it's like closing in on him, and like it looked like something out of Saw. Like it looked like something Jigsaw designed or something. And like you see it closing, and then boop, take it away. That's the one scene I'm like, man, if you were just if you could have went hardcore on one scene, hold off on the rest and you could have got away with it. But this one, I could have justified the rest. But that one scene, that was very detrimental to the overall feeling for me. But it is what it is.
The only
then
thing,
again, I like watching people get cut upside down naked with a handsaw. So what can you say?
Yeah.
The only thing I could say that closely resembled was like when you try to maintenance on Freddy in Security Breach, you put him in like that little chair and you lock him down, and then his face like opens up, and I'm like, that's kind of.
It's also somewhat reminiscent of what's called the scooping machine, which you see in sister location, but it's not quite the same thing, which is why I don't think that's what it is. I can give you a quick rundown of what the scooping machine does, though. That's pretty horrifying. The scooping machine is basically a big, a hook, a big hook, and it takes the inside of the animatronic out of the shell violently, like it juts in and yanks wires out. And in a scene in Sister Location, you, a human being, get put on the other side of it, and your insides get scooped out. And then they put an animatronic in your skin.
Yeah, there's your thing.
See, put that in the movie. Put that in the
called a scooping machine.
It literally is scooping.
Put that in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Let's see.
That's the thing.
Make a I need either.
Yeah. I need either Eli Roth or Rob Zombie to do Sister Location and have that scene in it and just go full gore. That's what I need to see out of Five Nights at Freddy's. So
that
give me that show.
So cool.
Yeah, because we see the baby animatronic, we're gonna see who's because she
that whole story again. Let's not give it away, but
I'm saying the way she works is also horrifying.
Yeah, anything. I would love to see a Sister Location.
Sister Location is kind of that's the insane one. It's got the best song too.
Yeah.
But let's delve into some of the trivia now, shall we? Let's see. Rachel and Jeremy have already talked about Jim Henson being Jim Henson's Creature Shop being responsible for all the animatronics. Unlike most studios using CGI for bringing creatures to life, Jim Henson's Creature Shop was responsible for the creation of the Fazbear animatronics. The animatronic characters were performed by puppeteers from Henson's company. For shots where the characters weren't moving, the puppeteers would control both the head and body movements. In the rare instances where the character would have to walk or dance, a stunt performer would don the costume while the puppeteers controlled the heads remotely.
And that's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I would love to have done that. And being a fan of these games, I'd also be, even though it's a dumb, irrational fear that like when you jump in a pool, you think there's a shark. I'm like, I'd be really scared to put that suit on. I'd be like, what if this fucking thing locks up on me? You know what I mean? It would just be dumb, but like I would still be thinking about that.
Well, somebody commented early in the stream about how allegedly one of the animatronics started moving without somebody in it.
Neat.
Oh, wow.
Kid.
That apparently happened. So real life ghost children.
Yeah.
So can we add this to the list of cursed films and whatever,
right.
With Exorcist and Poltergeist and
put them right
everything else?
Texas
Chainsaw animatronic,
yeah. Five Nights in Texas.
But nobody died.
Next
I don't know if you could add it to the list of cursed films.
No, somebody has to die.
Right.
Well, remember, they searched Freddy's top to bottom and they never found them.
Somebody has to die if this film must be famous, damn it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another piece of interesting trivia I thought that I found. Because Foxy's skeletal-like structure was I lost it. Where was that? Skeletal-like structure. He was built as a full-body animatronic puppet and performed by Russ Walco, along with a group of puppeteers from the Jim Henson Company. In shots where Foxy walked, it took as many as 6 puppeteers to accomplish his full range of movements.
That's crazy.
So I think that's what I was saying. I think
because he ran.
Like, yeah, I was like, just for Foxy, there was like 6 people doing that. And the point is, like we said, it's always a joke in the game that like the Pirate Cove is always out of order. So that's why Foxy looks the most.
Foxy's
disheveled.
always broken.
Yeah, he's always down for some reason. So
yeah, and he.
So
if you don't,
she's the McDonald's ice cream machine of the crew.
Yeah,
no, that's Baby.
Baby is the ice cream machine.
There is one that is an ice cream. That animatronic is an ice cream machine. She does like open up.
There is an actual ice cream animatronic in this
and she
series.
is probably pretty broken.
Wow.
So,
yeah, but
so you're on the nose.
Foxy, if you don't check on Foxy in the games, like you look at cameras. You're sitting the game essentially. You're sitting in the security room. You're looking at cameras to watch the animatronics move, and you don't want them to get to where you're at, or they'll kill you. You have lights and doors that are running on power as the same camera is, and it runs out the more you use everything. The doors take power if they're down. The lights take power if they're on. The camera takes power to look at. And if you're looking at Foxy, it'll say out of order. And then you look at other cameras, and you go back to Pirate Cove, and he's sticking his head out. And then you look back, and the stage is open, and he's not there. You look down the hallway, and he is running towards you. And if you don't shut the door fast enough, he gets you. But if you shut the door, he bangs on it and takes like a good chunk of your power because he banged on the door. Like he's fast.
Remember, Bonnie was the one throwing fucking hands, and he is trying to open that door.
Yeah,
so
hands. But
Bonnie's my favorite. Damn it, he's always my favorite.
Yeah.
Let's see. We talked a little bit about the potential future of this franchise. Let's see. In August 2018, Scott Cawthon said that if the first film were to be successful, there would be a second and third film following the events of the second and third games, respectively.
Ooh,
in January 2023, an interview on the podcast Weekly MTG, Matthew Lillard revealed he had signed a 3-picture deal with the studios for this franchise.
Oh man, woo! I'd love to see him in 3. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Jesus,
3 is crazy.
2, and like we said, 2 actually takes place before 1.
Yeah.
But 3 does get pretty goddamn insane.
Yeah. 3, you see visions, and it's actually a haunted attraction. They made it into a haunted attraction. The third game is a haunt. And they were basing it off of the tragedy of the old restaurants. And they found a real animatronic from the first restaurant. And I'll let you guess what animatronic they found. It's the only animatronic that's real in that game.
Yeah.
So that would be like a Matthew Lillard heavily focused movie.
That, like I said, it's going to get insane.
Oh,
okay. If we stick with the spring-locked William Afton, it's going to get really fucking wild really fast.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
Because 3 would be really heavy on that character.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm going to grab for this one. Let's see. The opening credits are depicted in Atari-based computer graphics, showing the events that led to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria closing for business. This style of storytelling is present in the majority of the games, foreshadowing the true story behind the events of the franchise.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of use, not in the first game, but in the second, there's a lot of use of storytelling in that 8-bit fashion. It looks a lot like that.
I actually didn't
in
pay
the
too
movie,
much
it looks
attention.
nicer, but like
I noticed it as it was happening as I was watching the film open, but I didn't notice at the time like what was happening with the 8-bit characters.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't occur to me to actually try to watch it that closely until it was kind of wrapping up, and I haven't watched the movie again since. But that kind of makes sense. That they kind of use that to kind of
shows what happens.
Overview.
Yeah, it's kind of important. I mean, it shows that all of those kids were killed and stuffed into suits, essentially.
And if anybody was wondering, this is why he's animated. That's fun. But that's who I am right now. Is like I said, that's what you see of him. That's why I look, I'm like, I don't know what the hell he looks like. This is as close as I,
Yeah, he's 8-bit.
That's as close as you get, damn it. So here it is. This is definitely not Scotch tape that I put on my fucking shirt to make the stripes. Damn it.
I'm about to say, you even made the shirt work. That's actually pretty good.
I know. I was like, wait, I need a striped shirt. That's important, damn it. But
Oh,
I need the one little strand of hair coming down. Hold on, there we go. There he is.
There you go.
Ah, fuck. There's your crying child. There you go.
There you are, crybaby. It's your party. You have to go. It's your own birthday.
Yeah, and get
That'll
my head
only make
fucking
sense
bit
to
off.
people who play the games. I'm sorry. It's your birthday. You have to go.
It was
Let's
not
see.
a
You
fun
guys
birthday.
had mentioned earlier. I know Tex did about getting a kind of a director's cut or an R-rated cut. Director Emma Tammy had said that there will not be a gorier director's cut for Five Nights at Freddy's. That is very disappointing.
That's so
boo.
sad.
Pussy.
Lame.
No
Do it, you
balls.
coward.
No balls.
Man.
Well, the reality is it may not necessarily be up to her. It may be the production company that's like, we want this to be a kids thing, so maybe we're
Which
not
makes
going
sense.
to
I mean,
film anything that is going to be like the murder of a child or Atherton getting consumed by the studio.
They could go with the Halloween 6 route and do the producer's cut instead of the unrated director's cut. They could always do that.
Scott was
You know
the
what I mean?
producer, so
Right, come on, Scott.
That's what I'm saying.
Lacey
Coming up,
Cawthorn
Scott.
thought, God damn it.
If she wants to give you a half-rate kills, teasing you with all the bloody goodness, the producers would be like, hey, we smell money with this, 3-hour extra cut of the gory stuff. Here you go, fans. So,
I was gonna say I would watch and buy that. I mean, I plan on buying this when it comes out on whatever Blu-ray, hoping for bonus features and stuff.
Get the special edition.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that because I want to see that.
I'm still mad I never got one of those pizza boxes. That would have been awesome.
I know our theater didn't get the pizza boxes.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought about going because I heard that Regal was giving them away, so I thought about just going up to Regal and just being like, I'm just gonna go up there and get a pizza so I get the box. It'd be a cool little thing to kind of have back here.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted one.
Right.
But I have plenty of merchandise.
You got one of the pizza boxes around your neck right now.
I do actually. Yes. Here it's my little. It says Freddy Fazbear's on it, and then if you open it,
there
has
is a pizza inside. It is cool.
Boy, Rachel went all out.
Well, even I also have. Let's see. Hold on. I've got.
You don't understand. She wore an entire poncho cloak that has Freddy's face on it.
So then I have this is Golden Freddy, and he. Oh geez, it didn't work. It says "Have a killer day," and it pops up.
Yeah.
Do you buy the action figures that have came out recently that are articulated and stuff that are in stores?
I've seen them.
They're in Walmart and Target over in the toy aisle. They have fully articulated figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That move around and have accessories. I didn't know if you collected
I was gonna say that one you just picked up. I showed you. We went to a con. This guy had it's a stage and it has all of them on stage together, and I'm like, okay. That's pretty.
They have a.
Here, now I can. Show
even prior, even like
that I have.
Oh wow. Even a year before the movie came out, I went because I collect action figures and stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a whole section just dedicated to Five Nights at Freddy's action figures of all the different animatronics or whatever. Different. There's a tie-dye Freddy and a golden Freddy and a. Just different variations, and there's all kinds of things.
This shelf is all Five Nights at Freddy's stuff up here.
That's all figure, yeah.
And then this.
Shane playing around.
Jack in the Box. That's awesome.
It is.
Jack in the Box.
It jumps and it scares the shit out of you. It's awesome. I'm waiting for it.
Come on.
It's very shy when people are watching.
Apparently.
It's because we're looking at it. It's like we're watching the cameras.
It's a grower, not a shower. You know what I mean?
Maybe he's nervous.
Apparently.
Wait,
he's nervous.
It's not locked down all the way.
I know, it's not locking. But anyways, he pops up. There he is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he pops up.
There was at the last. Actually, we're about to go back to this con here in the next month. But there was a guy. You want to talk about a fucking hell of a goddamn cosplay for William Afton. It's kind of blurry, but that is some horrifying shit right there.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was a very well done Afton suit. Wait. Hold on. There you go, Tex. In that same con, there's the Laura Croft. I wasn't joking.
Oh, yeah.
She even had the triangle put into her shirt.
I'm going to vote for her to win. So, she win.
Yeah, and then my derpy ass is Eddie, but like I was so excited to see her. That was cool. She was.
You're either Eddie or Loki. That's just.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I do.
And more trivia. While the break-in is occurring, a dog, and I think Rachel talked about this earlier, a dog animatronic can be seen in parts and service. This could be a reference to Fetch, dog animatronic from the Five Nights at Freddy's books. It could also be a reference to Sparky the dog, a really convincing hoax animatronic in Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Because Fetch is an animatronic that isn't necessarily like a suit animatronic. It's a smaller dog-sized animatronic that is controlled through your cell phone. It's like futuristic tech for when the books are. But it's like it can send you messages and you can talk to it through your cell phone. And in the short story, it actually it takes everything really literally. And like he's like, I don't want this to happen anymore with like one of the kids who finds it. It's like, I don't want this to happen anymore. And the dog goes and kills his friend. Like it takes things far too literally. But that's what Fetch is. And that's an interesting story in itself. Again, it's a short story within the universe.
I think even as a joke, we apparently in one of the screenshots in the movie, which again, I'm like knowing that was a hilariously convincing hoax and Scott Ever the Troll put it in the movie anyway.
Exactly.
Apparently behind, I think one of the shots, I think it's when Bonnie finally disappears and you see Chica still standing there. Behind Chica, you're supposed to be able to see the marionette puppet. I'm like, is it though? It's dark and it's in the corner. I'm like, I don't know.
Which is Charlotte, who I mentioned earlier.
Which is a hint towards what comes in 2.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if that's an Easter egg, then that was pretty clever to make it even deeper cut that it's a joke. Based off of, or it's an Easter egg based off a joke, but now it's real, and then that one was real. Shit hurts my head.
Lore.
I know.
Lots of lore.
It's all over the place.
Expect the 9.5-hour breakdown of the first part of Game 1 coming from
Friday Night Freddys here on the Harsh Truth coming soon.
Yeah, I said Friday.
It's going to be the new show.
Sure.
Oh man.
Friday Night Freddys. It'll be great. Just take the existing Monday Night Saw logo and just rework it. It'll be fine.
I know. Like
not much work needed.
The last time I made a stupid pun about a damn movie, we ended up reviewing 9 fucking movies in a row. So.
Oh, you enjoyed it. Don't lie. You had fun. I don't want to hear it.
That was a long time in the making because, like I said, I watched as far as I could. Then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then I was like, I'll do it for text. I'll do it for the channel. It's fine. I enjoyed it. I got into it.
I don't know if you guys noticed that they actually gave away the killer in the opening credits. During the opening credits, Matthew Lillard is credited next to a scene of Purple Guy putting on the spring bounty or spring trap suit, foreshadowing that he was the killer all along.
Yep.
The whole time.
The whole time.
If it wasn't for you meddling kids and that dog.
I do like that they at least put the. I do like that they put the.
Well, like I said, there's like 5 people in this movie, not counting the ghost kids. It's pretty obvious who the bad guy was. I mean, come on. Anybody with half a brain in a coma knew Matthew Lillard was the bad guy.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting the babysitter to be bad, though. That was a twist.
I think she was a little bit reluctant, but like, yeah, she was still kind of a piece of shit for going along with it. I wasn't expecting
that, to be honest.
I had hope. Come on. I'm like, be a good person. Be a good person.
Hey, man. If he had just paid her, she wouldn't have been bad. It's all mine.
That might have been. You know what?
That's no free labor.
I mean,
oh, come on, you're a baby.
Nobody.
You're not.
Hey, nobody wants to work. Well, see, my first thought was, okay, he's not paying her, so he's doing her right. Like this, she's getting something on the back end out of this. Like that was like this scene, like that scene where Mike first comes in, he's like, "Oh, I promised to pay you one day," and they're like relaxing on the couch. I'm like, okay. In the rated R version of this, then they go to the bedroom and something else happens. But
he pays
it is what
and somebody gets scooped out of the bed.
Yeah, and then somebody, and then the scooping machine comes out, and Sam Raimi's portion of the film stars. It is what it is.
I said, hey, we're gonna bring some toys into bed. I'm gonna rearrange her guts. You'll understand.
I was actually starting to think that she was in on it somehow, and as that thought was formulating in my head, I was like, she seems really subtly kind of apathetic, kind of like she's not trying to stand out. So I'm like, I wonder if she's really. And as I formed this thought in my head, is when you cut to the diner scene where he's talking to.
Can we talk about Doug for a second? Because I loved Doug, the lawyer.
Oh, the fucking lawyer!
I loved Doug.
Awesome.
That was so good.
He looks so.
I shouldn't be hearing this. I shouldn't be here right now. Sit down, Doug.
That poor man.
Oh, it was so good.
That was a little bit of comic relief. It was supposed to be kind of a dark movie. That was a little bit of comic relief.
Yeah, but there are funny moments in the games too that are just silly. So I think it fit perfectly.
Let's see. Moving on, a couple more pieces of trivia. The animatronic suit, the animatronic Chica rather, tries to stuff Abby in, is very similar to the Ella doll from Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes, but bigger and now a spring lock suit.
Yep.
I figured that would be a fun spoilery piece of trivia that Rachel I certainly would enjoy.
Yes. Yeah. Ella.
That was the one I thought was Circus Baby, but it wasn't.
It was not. It was Ella.
Yeah. But it explains the spring lock suit, and also the since this is very. I mean, as much as it's like this is the first game, it's like it's a lot of the Silver Eyes books. The scene where Abby is hiding from Foxy was straight out of like one of the first scenes of the Silver Eyes. So I'm like, where Foxy's trying to kill this kid who hides behind the arcade cabinet. So
what's cool about those books too is they're not only chapter books, they're also graphic novels.
Yeah, they're comic books, really.
There's you can buy both versions. Of course, I have both versions of them, but
I like pictures. I'd probably read those.
Right? Yeah, I'll give you the book with pictures to read.
I don't have any more. My brain is full of horror knowledge, from Terrifier to Halloween to Texas Chainsaw to Saw to Evil Dead to the Firefly. There's no more room up here. I'm gonna have to start deleting stuff to add new things. So
give me tab.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I think I'm full. So it's all good.
There's only so much available RAM up here.
Right. Yeah. Between sports, it's like sports knowledge, horror, like hungry, hornies up here somewhere. It's all a mix, you know what I mean?
He doesn't have another floppy disk slot, so he can't really.
No slots. All computers come with 4 slots. You're using all of them.
Right.
If you don't know what that is, you're too damn young to be on this channel. Go
Floppy disk,
moving on to a little bit more trivia. The red button that is pressed to engage the animatronic says Showtime above it. Mm-hmm. That's a reference to Showbiz Pizza, which was an actual pizza place with real animatronics that would sing. I think Showbiz was actually the parent company of Chuck E. Cheese for a long time. Either was or is.
I think it was. I think I went to a Showbiz Pizza whenever I was a kid.
Huh.
I'm not sure.
I think they had or have one around here. I know they got 2 Chuck E. Cheeses that are kind of not too far from here. They have the one in Springfield, and I think they have one over by Dayton Mall, Jeremy. But or at least they used to. But there was a Showbiz Pizza around here somewhere. I forget where. I think they closed it years ago. I remember driving by it once or twice, but I don't remember. I don't think I ever actually went in it.
You know what?
I'm pretty sure that Showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese were both owned by the same company.
I'm looking at a picture of the Showbiz pizza, and the bear named Billy Bob is very reminiscent of Freddy, so I can see that.
So there was a couple knockoffs of Chuck E. Cheese that I went to growing up. There was, I can't remember what their names were, but there was a few variations. Like in the mid 90s when those things were still kind of popular, but
Oh, those animatronics are horrifying, and they're not supposed to be.
Well, it's that weird, like it's like inherently kind of creepy.
I hate those.
Yeah.
Oh my word, those are scary looking.
Like not too long ago. Oh, go ahead.
Also, I went to a Chuck E. Cheese like maybe 2 years ago, something like recently, and I hadn't been to one since I was a kid. Yeah, probably in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s when that was popular. So It was funny going back now as an adult, and I swear to Christ, I was watching that goddamn Chucky animatronic because it did move. And there were kids around, and I'm like, I swear to Christ, if he starts fucking running at me, I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna turn into Bonnie because I'm gonna start swinging. Holy shit! It was just.
Have y'all seen the meme?
What?
Have y'all seen the meme of like the ratty old Chuck E. Cheese animatronic? It's like in a junkyard. It's an actual picture.
Yes.
But somebody memed it and put it on Twitter. That is one of the most and they put like a black and white filter over it. That is one of the most terrifying memes I've ever seen. It's like that is real. Like it's like half of like the furs like mangled, or like what's left of the furs like mangled and ratted. And it looks like something like it's pretty cool. I dig it.
You know what's kind of funny about this Showbiz Pizza place? It says it was founded in 1980. I'm like, well, that's pretty goddamn close. Yeah. Ceased operations in 1992. Woo, year I was born. Parent organization is Chuck E. Cheese, and it was in Kansas, so that's hilarious. Kansas City, Missouri, sorry. Subsidiary is Chuck E. Cheese, defunct in November of 94, so that's pretty much heavily your inspiration. I think I have seen... I'm looking at these pictures. This is horrifying as shit.
Right? That's what I was saying. Looking at it, it's scary.
It's like when you look at old pictures of like old Halloween costumes from like 20s, 30s, and like that. Yeah. This is what that is.
I love those pictures, man. I love those.
Yeah, like this is nightmare fuel. This is just this is all. I mean, I don't know what you try to do. You try to make something that's I don't know.
Got character. It's got character. Yeah. I mean, they're terrifying.
Well,
they definitely have personality.
It reminds me of like the scene from the Goofy movie when they go to that fucking what was that place called? It was the same kind of deal where it had the weird little animatronics that they're also just kind of creepy. Oh my god, what was it called? Was it something trailer park?
I have no idea.
I never saw a Goofy movie.
What? Oh, you guys are killing me. I
was too busy learning the Halloween timeline to watch Goofy's movie. Sorry.
That's fair. Lester Possum. That's what it was. There's there's a scene in the Goofy movie where they go to this kind of the same deal. There's Lester, it's called Lester's Trailer Park or some shit. And there's these creepy animatronics that sing and dance and shit. And then there's of course a guy who is in a like costume suit of Lester, and it's the same deal. I feel it.
Well, there's something inherently creepy, like even Chuck E. Cheese himself, with the big soulless eyes, and it's like, he's not real, and it's like, it's just, there's something chilling about it. You're right. Yeah. So there's something very chilling about, like I said, even when he's just up there playing piano or guitar or whatever he's doing. It's like, he probably murders people when the lights go down. Like, that's probably what he does. But,
you know what? It is what it is. There it is. God.
Right there. That's what I'm saying. Look at that. Like,
absolutely
that's the
not.
Chuck E. Cheese that I grew up
I've
with.
seen enough horror films to know if you encounter that, just run. Don't stop running. Pick a point very far away, a clear path. Don't try to hide. Just run. That's all you need. That's your only survival. So
I went to Chuck E. Cheese a total of one time during my childhood. Once. Yeah. So again, right.
I think it's fair to say you've gotten your fill with Freddy Fazbear instead.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It is what it is.
Amongst these pictures of this Lester's Possum Park that I'm looking at, there is snuck in there. There's somebody made a fan photo of it says Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's fucking Max and Roxanne dressed up as security guards. But it still says Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm like, yeah, there it is, because it is it's similar, that scene.
I have a friend of mine in her 30s her mid 30s that wanted to have her birthday at Chuck E. Cheese this year. I was like, yeah, well, I'm not going.
Like, no, not now or not.
No, this is before this. I've been to a couple like over the last several years, like kids that I know, they have their party at Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm like, good God, that place is so obnoxious now. It's so crowded, and it's not very expensive. There's just so many friggin' people, and I'm like, I don't want to be like shoulder to shoulder with all these people just trying to refill my Pepsi. You know what I mean? It's just, I just want to
jump in the ball pit. You'll be transported into another world.
There's a portal in the ball pit.
There's a portal in the ball pit.
If you go into the ball pit, you end up on Epstein's island. You just disappear.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, when I went,
that's why they always had to put hand stamps on you. Like whenever I didn't even realize the whole hand stamp number thing. Like as a kid, for whatever reason, I never picked up on it. I didn't go a lot when I did go, but once I had children and I started taking them. The first time we went, they're like, okay, let me make sure the dials are turned properly. And they stamp all of us. And then, of course, my kids scurry off. I'm like, why do y'all stamp the kids' hands? They go, oh, well, it's a security protocol in case somebody's missing. I said, how many people go missing? And how many kids go missing? And the kid working the door gives me this wide-eyed look like he wouldn't answer the question. I'm like, oh, no, this is.
You're gonna have to
at least five. At least five.
I guarantee you, like there was a lawsuit that says he can't answer that question or you're fired. So he didn't say a word. So we didn't go back anymore. It is what it is. So
yeah, you got out. You survived.
Right. We survived the 2 hours at Chuck E. Cheese instead of 5 nights at Freddys.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
5 hours
Dr.
at Chucky's.
674 kids have gone missing. That's what you want.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, no, it was because I could not ask the question when he goes, oh, well, whenever you leave, we make sure your numbers match. So obviously, somebody's got out the door with unmatching numbers, and somebody's kids went missing. So It is what it is.
It's not about how many.
What?
I was going to say, it's not about how many kids went missing, it's that a number of kids went missing.
Yeah.
Right. Enough kids went missing.
Enough for this to be this big of a deal.
They were like, we're going to have to, this is a lot of kids. This is becoming a big number. We need to do something about this. So it was more than 3.
Right. Right.
But anyway. But one more piece of trivia. Did you guys catch it? Did you guys catch the Scream callback?
Yes.
Oh yeah. No,
wait. Was it? Hold on. Was it the guy that played William Afton?
Was it maybe when he?
That's it. Before he takes his helmet off,
the knife wipe.
He does the whole thing with a knife where he wipes it like this.
He does the knife wipe. That was my favorite scene in the whole movie. That was I was like, he did the thing. He did the thing. I was like, I'm going crazy.
I was sitting there with my son Max and with my daughter. We were watching it, and I as soon as that happened, I pointed over to him, and I literally turned into that fucking meme of Leonardo DiCaprio from the movie. He's like,
the pointing.
He did the thing. Beer in hand.
Well,
that was me in every scene of this movie, looking at a different piece of lore.
Every 5 minutes.
Well,
yeah.
That's what I was telling. That's what I was telling Jeremy and Rachel before we went live. I said, I bet Paramount is pissed. They bring Stu back. They do the knife wipe. So even if they bring back Stu in Scream 7, 5 Nights at Freddy's did it first. They beat him to the punch. So, they might just write him out for forever because they already did it. So, sorry, Paramount. You should have done it in Scream 6.
This time he's not coming back.
No.
Right.
I still think you're probably going to have in a new Scream movie at some point in the next couple of years. If you brought back.
Oh, no, Scream 7 is happening. It's actually going to be at Christmas. It's going to be Ghostface in the Snow. I'm actually looking forward to it. But
Blood on the Snow.
We'll see.
It's going to contrast well. That red against the white. But we're going to start to wrap things up now. Again, so glad that I had Rachel and Jeremy here to really break down all the deep stuff. But I'll start with you. I'll start with you first, Tex. I mean, give me your final thoughts on 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Like I said, coming from the casual standpoint, like I said, I tried to learn the lore. I gave up 3 hours in because I learned so much, but I knew none of it. If you can understand that. And as a film, it wasn't a film I really particularly enjoyed. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me. For gateway scary, I'm not even going to call it horror. It's gateway scary. it was too adult. They had too many adult things, I felt, in it to be marketing to the kid audience. And I think they kind of missed the mark, but hey, the fan meter score obviously proves me wrong because it's like 88%. So if people like it, God bless you. What can you do? It's, as I said earlier, not everything is for everyone. So it's all good.
Jeremy, how about you? Give me some of your final thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. Again, being somebody who, I've watched Markiplier play this game. I haven't watched all of it because I know I'm probably a fake fan because I didn't watch Sister Location. I didn't watch the other 300 million other damn things that are a part of it and read all the 800 million books.
Fake fan.
Screw you. You wait your turn. But yeah, no, it's something that I do enjoy, and it's a fun time. I mean, I know she's gonna say it, but like, that's her comfort series. Like, I know, like, whenever you have that on in the background, like whenever you're just doing stuff, like you've seen Mark play this a million times, but that's something you always watch just as like a comfort series. Weirdly, me personally, it's Soviet Womble, but whatever. That's just me because I like dumb British humor. So, that's yeah. He's British, and it's great. But no, I definitely appreciate this because this was something I watched back in maybe like 2014, maybe 2015, like when Mark was getting big and this game was blowing up to what it was. So seeing it come to fruition, just like I can't off the top of my head remember who said it, but it said like, yeah, 9, almost 10 years in the making now, pretty much. This was pretty cool to see, and I'm really excited again to see where this goes. Because I hope it maybe does take the Harry Potter route where it starts getting a little more insane, because honestly, the story does get more insane from here on out, and yeah, they'll always come back.
How about you, Rachel? Give us your final thoughts as the resident expert here. What did you think of Five Nights at Freddy's?
I loved it. We're gonna go see it again on Sunday in theaters. I'm very excited to go see it in theaters again.
Excited.
I'm excited to own this movie. I'm excited to add it to my collection. I'm overall just thrilled with the whole thing. I'm happy that it's come to a mainstream almost, because this was originally just a little indie horror game, and it changed the trajectory of horror games when it came out. There were no horror games like it, and now there are a bunch of horror games exactly like this, knockoffs and spin-offs, and using the same theme, using the same ideas, haunted animatronics, just all kinds of different things that have come from this. And I'm so excited that it finally got a movie. And I'm excited to see the next 2 movies. I hope they make more than that, because I would love to see a Sister Location movie, like I was saying before. But overall, really thrilled, really excited, still really hyped about it. It's made me want to go back and, look at the games again, watch through some playthroughs, maybe do some playthroughs of my own. It's unfortunate that I absolutely suck at these games because I love them so much, but I'm terrible at them. But it might make it for good streaming thing, because it's, a bunch of jump scares, and who doesn't like watching people get scared?
Don't worry, nothing bad ever happens the first night.
The first night, yeah.
As Markiplier so famously said, and then about 2 seconds later, he got his ass fucking jump scared hard. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, but I loved the movie. I love this franchise. I'm really stoked about it.
Yeah, I would have leaned a little bit more into the horror, because I feel like the game certainly did. But I mean, I get it. You had to make it a little bit more marketable and stuff like that. So whatever. I was entertained by this movie. I thought it was a fun watch. I'll probably watch it again at some point. I am interested to see how they do go with it. Like I said earlier, if they try to progressively make it a bit darker, I think that would be fun to see. And then maybe by the time we get to the 3rd movie, or if they even decide to go past that, if their audience scores stay good, the box office stays good,
makes money.
Yeah, as long as hey, look, we've got 27 Fast and Furious movies, and we're only halfway done with those, as far as I know. But
Soft.
You know, if they continue to if they embrace a little more of the darkness going forward, I think that would make this a lot funner. Like I said, it's a fun movie. I was anticipating what this movie was going to be. I was again hoping for a little bit more scary, but I thought it was fun. It was because some of the kid horror stuff is actually done pretty well. I mean, we just did It recently, which is not a lot of blood and guts. It's a little more psychological, but that was not like R-rated or anything like that. It was a TV miniseries from the 90s, so that was pretty PG as well. And I have a great affection for that. So it was a fun movie. It was entertaining. I look forward to see what they do with the second one, continuing down the story and what they do with the games. Again, I don't have the knowledge of the games, the other stuff that Rachel and Jeremy have, but I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I think there's a ton of potential here. I just wish they would embrace the horror more. Give me a little bit more blood. You can still do some blood and still be kind of kid friendly. So I would hope that they would push that envelope just a little bit more and kind of maybe show me some entrails, show me some blood soaked bodies. Go for it a little bit.
Get those spring locks in there.
Yeah, get those spring locks in there. Let's see some those spring locks dig into your ribs and some like rib coming out or some whatever. But it was fun. It pretty much, for the most part, met my expectations. I didn't really have any going into this because, again, I don't really have the knowledge of the game. So I was just kind of a fresh canvas, just kind of walking there like, okay, hit me with whatever you got. And it was decent. I'll probably give it another watch eventually, just sit down and try to pick out some of the things that maybe I missed the first time. Like I said, I saw the whole knife wiping thing, and I was like, ooh,
yeah,
that's awesome. But I'd like to go back over it again. Yeah, he did the thing. But I'd like to go back over it again and just kind of break down some of the stuff in the background, maybe find some things that I missed, the little bit that I would actually know to look for to begin with. But yeah, it was pretty good, and it's not going to be hard to watch. You guys can either go see it in theaters, which I hope you will, because I want to support the filmmakers and all the people that worked really hard to get this film made, or you can watch it if you have a subscription on the Peacock. So you can watch it for free on there right now. Releasing day and date hasn't seemed to hurt this movie financially that much. I mean, only $20 million. Normally I say day and date. I just think it's stupid. I think you're setting your movie up for failure. But it's made good money. I mean, let me get something that's more updated so I can give you some real box office stuff.
And you can already pre-order the DVD on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Blu-ray
You
or
go to Box
whatever
Office
the kids are
Mojo,
doing
which
these
has
days.
the updated stuff.
What'd you think,
Let's see
Sparky?
here.
Little loudmouth, you were fucking yelling at me a second. Quit looking at my face. I'm not actually crying.
Right now, worldwide 152 million, just over 152 million, and it's
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad on a $20 million budget. That's not bad. It's already hit its profitability. I would imagine they didn't really do a whole lot of marketing for it, so I mean, just the basic couple of trailers, But yeah, it's a good movie. I think you guys should go check it out. Go check it out for free on Peacock, or go check it out in theaters. I suggest you go check it out in theaters because, go support the people that work really hard to make this movie. Thanks to my amazing co-host for being so wonderful. I'll start with my man, Tex, the shape from the Lone Star State. Where can the folks at home find you, my man?
Right here. Obviously, this week's schedules were a little bit thrown off. We didn't produce the amount of content we normally do, but I'm sure we'll get back into working order this coming week. I'm here enjoying the Rangers World Series, buddy. 63 years in the making. It was, I'd be lying if I said a tear didn't come to my eye whenever that final strike happened. That was, it was something I've never had. So, it meant a lot, and kind of, it still doesn't feel quite real. So I'm kind of enjoying that. So, come hang out with us.
Yeah, I was there in 2010, buddy. I never thought I would see my Giants win a World Series when they finally did. I went down on my hands and knees and was like, thank you. The one Bay Area sports team that I followed that had never won a championship, and I finally got it. It was the one I wanted the most.
Well, I mean, previous to this, I'm not a Mavericks fan. I don't care about basketball. So the only pro sports championship I've ever seen was the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl in the mid-90s. So being an adult, getting to, I was literally there at the stadium. I was embracing, I was part of it. The air felt different. It was, there were multiple generations of the same family sitting next to one another, embracing, and you're a sports fan. You know what I'm talking about. It was it was magical. And it was, I mean, all day on the radio, Ranger fans have been just taking it in, and it's, it's special. It's, it's meant a lot. I mean, I'm a lifelong Ranger fan, and that's not an easy thing to be at times, but, hey, we're here, you know what I mean? So it's all good.
And Nick does point out that you will be in their chat on Monday. So yeah, go poke fun at Tex in over on Dr. Nick and the Garbage, or on Alex the Garbage Man on.
And yes, woo sports ball. I'm a big sports ball.
Woo sports ball. Hey, look, Jeremy, gamers can be sports fans too. Okay.
I know. I was thinking about
sports games.
That's.
Hey,
I'll play the hell out of some Wii bowling.
I can't see. I can't see Eddie Munson or Loki. I bet Eddie Munson can't hit a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. That's all I'm going to say. I bet he can't do it. So he can play Metallica and fight off Demogorgons, but he can't hit no slider or no curveballs. So it's all good. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
No, but he did
smack
that bat right out of the park. Out the trailer park.
Yeah, my hetero life made Jeremy. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Yeah. So I'm here. I'm here on Thursday. Here on Tuesday. Whenever we do stuff. That's usually the 2 days I'm here because since I'm apparently one of the weird unicorns that I'm a gamer and I don't do sports, but whatever. So I was thinking about a buddy I used to work with. He actually did do both. So I think he opened up saying something about sports once, and I was like, yeah. He just saw my face go blank, and he was like, "So you play video games?" And that's how we hit it off. But yeah, I'm here doing movie stuff and doing game stuff because, like I said, stuff that's got a weird, wide age range audience. Not just Five Nights at Freddy's, but like Fortnite, because as Frank likes to always say, we suck at Fortnite. But sometimes
we won a game yesterday.
I was like, we managed to squeak out a win. I think that's all we actually did was the one game that we actually won, hey, whatever. that at least, gives us some credibility. And you know what? We didn't even need Casey there to help because he wouldn't have helped anyway. Whatever. He was a warm body. I'm waiting for him to push us up the algorithm, start commenting like, I'm good at Fortnite. Fuck you. Anyway, that's my Casey impression. I kid. Talking about streaming, I was like, you know what? We're going back. Some Fortnite news. We're going back in time to Chapter 1, and that's kind of exciting because that's when I actually started playing it. So I thought, like, you know what? That might be kind of fun if I started streaming on my own. Start doing some Fortnite because being the gamer, I'm like, I can kind of do the gaming side of this stuff. So it'd be kind of fun to see what happens with this new season, which does start tomorrow. So I'm going to be spending my day doing that. And I also am a terrible content creator and I don't do jack shit anywhere else. But like I said, I do cosplay. So I don't know. Maybe I'll clear out my Instagram finally and actually start posting shit. Because there is a con coming up in December that me and her are both going to. So got to start putting the stuff on and I'll share it with you guys. My name is not that, but it's, from Tuesday 23 across everything.
You might find us on here tomorrow night, since that's when the new season starts. You might find us on here tomorrow night doing a little bit of Fortnite streaming. So if you want to come back and check us out, we might be here.
I'm excited.
And our special guest, Tin Septum, the one who brought all the knowledge to this review. Where can the folks at home find you, my dear?
Yes.
Well, I'm on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Tin Septum. I finally have my nice computer that I built up and running and a good setup going, so I'll probably start streaming some games soon. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Twitch or YouTube or both, or how I'm going to do that. I was thinking about streaming FNAF, as I so lovingly call it, Five Nights at Freddy's, even though I'm terrible at the actual games. I also am planning on doing some Sims content, if you're into that kind of a thing, building gameplay, that kind of stuff, now that I have the proper RAM for my computer. Before I had improper RAM and my games would continually crash. I fixed it. So
you couldn't play Fortnite with us.
I couldn't play Fortnite, so I had to fix my computer.
Right.
Now it's
welcome.
fixed. Yeah, now it's fixed. So I will be hopefully doing some streams there. I've also considered doing some streams for SFX makeup, special effects makeup. As I just finished doing that for the cave, and I'm sad that it's over. I just recently posted a bunch of the looks that I did for the cave. So hopefully that might be something I'll be doing as well.
And there it is. Every damn time we lose them.
Every time we lose text.
Bonnie got him. It's actually been a while since we've lost text at some point in the stream.
But anyways, that's what I'm up to.
I'll say, don't you see how sad I am that the season's over? I'm just sitting here, I've been crying the whole stream.
Mm-hmm. So sad.
You will find us back here on Tuesday reviewing one of my absolute favorite films ever, V for Vendetta. That's what I've been looking forward to doing for a long, long time. Very deep movie, a lot of a great social commentary about what could happen when one side kind of takes over everything, just how bad things can get. But one of my favorite performances from Hugo Weaving, the V character, is one of my favorite. I'm really looking forward to talking about that one. So come check us out on Tuesday for that. Also, me and Tex will probably be back here on Wednesday going over some more football stuff. We didn't do a show Wednesday because me and him very much wanted to go see Terrifier 2 in theaters so we could get our poster for Terrifier 3 and see the teaser trailer for Terrifier 3. Jeremy, did you guys get a chance to watch the teaser trailer for Terrifier 3?
No, I did not.
Well, now the Texans return, I'll ask him real quick. I mean, the Terrifier 3 teaser trailer, real quick, what'd you think of it?
Oh my God! I cannot wait to see Santa art just butcher children. I cannot wait to see that. That is going. I obviously we know Sienna and her brother from Terrifier 2 are coming back, but I really, really hope, because apparently I was wrong. They haven't shot this. They just shot enough to do that teaser. So what I had said previously, I was incorrect about. But,
the teaser was pretty clearly shot those scenes were shot just for the teaser. This is not any movie.
Yeah, from what I had read, it was one of those. I did a little bit more digging on my sources, and this dude was full of crap. You know how there's thousands of them on Twitter. Unfortunately, I fell into his trap. But no, they haven't. Apparently, it goes into pre-production this coming year. Or goes into production this coming year, but no, the teaser trailer itself, man. You got Silent Night playing, and the little girl comes down, like very Grinch-like, which is ironic because he played the Grinch last year, and then you just see Santa Claus art with that red suit and the hair. We didn't get the skin mask from Santa, but I'm hoping that they bring that. But yeah, I cannot wait for Terrifier 3 next Christmas. Best Christmas movie ever, and it hasn't even been made yet. By God, I'm calling it now. So,
see, that's what we need for Five Nights at Freddy's. We need Damien Leone to branch away from Terrifier.
Oh my God, dude! That's what we need. Damien Leone, man, that guy's like him, Rob Zombie, Eli Roth, Sam Raimi, some of the best directors ever. Man. I love these dudes; they're just so good. So I'm a fan.
And Tex will be back here with us to go over V for Vendetta. Just like I said, we'll check us out on Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday. Actually, I think the Rose Gaming is going to be joining us on Wednesday to talk some football. And then after that, I forget what we're doing. We got more reviews coming. We kind of slowed it down a bit this week. It was a busy October. It was a busy, scary month. We got most of the streams that we had scheduled, I think all except for one of them, into the books. We had another great month for viewership. It was really fantastic. Thanks to all of you again for helping us hit 500 views. I'm thinking that the charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project is going to be New Year's Eve. I'll probably just, we'll start at 8 or 9 o'clock, and just like every hour, once all the time zones hit midnight, we'll have a little moment of celebration. We'll drink a shot, do something like that. And then any donation that comes in that day is going to go to the Abandoned Pet Project. So be prepared for that on New Year's Eve. Take New Year's Day off. We're going to be here until probably about 1 or so my time.
Wow.
And we'll just be hanging out. It's going to be general discussion, probably some people coming in and out. It's going to be a fun thing to do. So come check us out there. Again,
I'll go ahead and
you for the 500 subscribers.
I'll go ahead and up the ante for that charity stream. Obviously, I'm a drinker. It's no secret. For every $10 donated, a shot is fair for that one day. Do you think that's a fair number, or what do you think?
I'm not committing myself to any excessive drinking. I'll be drinking a bit, but
Well,
I mean, if you ever seen me and Drew go too far on Derailed, you know that he had to take a couple of streams down because.
Well, this is kind of what I'm getting at. If you've seen, go back and watch the podcast Bedlams where me and Drew are just completely gone. This is what I'm willing to do only for the little animals because hey, we got to put some skin in this game, right? So every $10 donated, I'll do a shot. Just for that one night, but we'll figure it out. It's all good.
Yeah, I'll just have to make sure I have my finger hovering over the mute button, so when Tech starts talking about any kind of weird thing, I'll be like mute.
Yeah, mute button will be needed, but hey, you know what? If we can raise enough for them puppy dogs and kitty cats, a few mute buttons will be worth it. Maybe Frank won't get too many strikes on the YouTube, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
We can't help the poor defenseless animals if YouTube kicks us off. So keep that in mind. But thanks to all of you for coming and hanging out with us. We very much appreciate it. Thanks to Tim for coming into the office, and Jeremy Tex for being the great. All of you. And we'll see you guys next time. Until then, adios. You know, they
Rangers World Champions.
They did make a video game out of like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre among other movies. Are they video game movies now?
I mean, it was Friday the 13th as well.
You know,
and they at least showed blood.
Yeah,
I think we need to take these things up a notch. Make these like have like a nuclear option where they can explode and kill people. That's what they need to do.
Well.